Chapter 1729. After Qing-Yi and Little Seven's explanation, Sima Yue finally understood why they were so anxious when the Tree of Souls was imprisoned here. It turned out that the Tree of Souls was once as free as they were, but tens of thousands of years ago. It was designed by someone to seal the surrounding land and imprison it here. Being unable to leave this land was originally nothing to the plants, but the seal was a dark seal, causing the land to slowly lose its nutrients, and it could no longer provide nutrients for the Tree of Souls. Moreover, the dark power in the seal would slowly seep into the body of the Tree of Souls along with the soil, disintegrating his power. Why? If Elder Bai dies, then the Sage Pavilion won't be able to gain any more power, right? Sima Yue asked. Because only this kind of seal can trap Elder Bai. With Old Bai's strength, he would need at least tens of thousands of years to kill him. Tens of thousands of years is enough for them to develop. Qingyi said. Furthermore, look at the people from the Sage Pavilion. Their spiritual energy has an affinity with normal people. It's all thanks to Elder Bai. In other words, they are exploiting Elder Bai's strength while imprisoning him? So the shamelessness of the Sage Pavilion has been going on for so long. Sima Yue laughed coldly as she despised the Sage Pavilion even more. Grandpa White doesn't have much strength left. If I stay here any longer, I'll die in a few years. Qing-Yi and I can't come, so we can only rely on you. Little Seven said. Sima Yue didn't know why Little Seven and the rest couldn't attack, but after checking the situation, she finally understood. The seal below was made entirely of dark obsidian spirit stones. These spirit stones were extremely rare. Although each of them contained a rich amount of spirit energy, not many people dared to use them. This was because the spirit energy contained within them was of the dark and fire attribute. The average person wouldn't be able to digest it. As for the dark fire attribute, it was no different from arsenic to divine trees like Qing-Yi and Elder Bai. As long as they touched it, they would feel very uncomfortable. It was no wonder that Elder Bai had been trapped for so many years in a seal set up with obsidian spirit stones. She checked the situation around them, and her respect for Elder Bai grew. The plants here are already unable to survive. They don't have the strength to resist the power of the dark obsidian spirit stones, but Elder Bai used his own strength to attract all the energy from the dark obsidian spirit stones to his roots, allowing the other plants to survive. How is it? Can you break this seal? Little Seven looked at Sima Yue. It's a little bit difficult, but it's not impossible. Sima Yue's expression was not relaxed. This seal is a little complicated, but it's a good thing that so many years have passed and its power is almost exhausted. No, at the final moment of the seal, it will be destroyed along with its sealed artifact. Sima Yue said. I'll leave it to you. Qingyi looked at Sima Yue. He didn't say anything polite to her, but his words were heavy. Don't worry, leave this to me. This kind of dark power is useless against me. Sima Yue said. But before that, we have to move the surrounding plants away. Otherwise, they won't be able to withstand the explosion of power. Let us handle this, Qingyi said. All right. Sima Yue began to deal with the soil. She moved away all the soil around Elder White. Finally, a large hole appeared. In the hole, Elder White's roots were intertwined with a few dark spirit stones. Those dark spirit stones had spirit energy between them, trapping the roots in the middle. How complicated. She glanced at the obsidian stones and thought about which one to open first. Little Seven left Qing-Yi to move the flowers and trees while she ran to Sima Yue's side, and saw her staring blankly at the obsidian stones. Do you not know how to solve it? Little Seven asked. Sima Yue pointed at an obsidian spirit stone and said, this should be the key to the entire seal. Opening it is already halfway to success. You have a but behind it, right? Sima Yue nodded. Half of it has already grown into Old White's roots. If I remove this obsidian stone, it might cause harm to Old White. I don't know Old White well, and have never encountered such a situation before, so I don't know what the consequences will be. I also don't know if Old White can withstand it, so I can't act rashly. It's okay. Anyway, the worst outcome won't be worse than the original one. Just do as you wish, don't think about anything else. Old White comforted. But if anything, it's my life. No matter what, it's better than staying here. Being imprisoned without freedom and having to fight against the dark power day after day. He couldn't hold on much longer. Even if he was destroyed, it was better than this. Grandpa White is in pain, but I don't want Grandpa White to disappear. Little Seven looked at her with tears in her eyes. Sima Yue touched her head and said, I won't let your Grandpa White disappear. To remove this seal, there should be more than one way. There's still time. I'll study it and see if there are any other ways. If there isn't, we'll try this. Okay. These stones will hurt you. Wait for me up here. I'll go down and take a look. Sima Yue flew to the giant pit and landed on Old White's roots. Why don't you let me air try? Little Seven reminded her. Me air is so powerful and he jumped out from the stone. He might be able to deal with these stones. Sima Yue thought about it and agreed. She called Me Air out. Me Air looked at the stones and shook his head. The spirit energy is inside the stones. It's easy for me to break them, but it won't work if you want me to pay attention to those. So, he wasn't confident that he wouldn't hurt Old White. Sima Yue was a little disappointed. She thought that Me Air would be able to do it, but she didn't expect him to fail. If we want to remove the seal, we have to deal with the energy between the stones. Once we move the stones, the energy will retaliate. She frowned. This might still hurt Old White's body. If these stones weren't of the dark fire element, I would break them with one punch. Little Seven pouted unhappily. Why don't you let Little Black try? The only person Me Air was afraid of was Little Black. If he couldn't, maybe Little Black could. Sima Yue thought about Little Black's identity. He might be able to deal with these stones. Although he looked like a piece of trash, he might be able to block this energy. Chapter 1730. Sima Yue called Little Black out. The little fellow rushed into her arms and bit her arm. It was as happy as a puppy that saw its owner. She grabbed Little Black's neck in disgust and lifted it up. You're not a puppy. If you act like a puppy again, I'll throw you into the dog meat restaurant. Little Hay whimpered and nodded to show that it understood. Those big black eyes looked at Sima Yue aggrievedly, as if she had suffered a great grievance. Unfortunately, she had no resistance to this kind of gaze from her beasts. Okay, I won't throw you to the dog meat restaurant. She sighed. Try this and see if it works for you. She placed Little Black on the ground and ordered it to attack the obsidian spirit stones. Little Black looked at her and then looked at the black stones. It stretched out its paw and smashed the black spirit stones into pieces. Woof woof woof. Little Black was extremely excited when he caught a whiff of the black obsidian spirit stones. He lowered his head and began to chew on one obsidian spirit stone after another. Crack. Crack. Under everyone's horrified gazes, Blackie quickly ate all the small pieces of obsidian. However, it was still not satisfied after eating that piece. It slammed its paw down and split another black spirit stone into several pieces. Then, it wrapped up another piece and began to chew on it. Little Seven's mouth twitched. This guy. Sima Yue looked at Little Black, who was happily eating with his but sticking out. The power of the obsidian spirit stone had no effect on him at all. Moreover, its actions did not trigger the seal, so it did not affect Elder Bai. Blackie, come and try this one. Sima Yue carried Blackit to the side of a dark spirit stone and patted its head, encouraging it. Little Black wagged its tail. Although it didn't know why Yu wanted to change the location, it still obediently smashed the piece that Yu mentioned. At that moment, Sima Yue clearly felt the seal vibrate. Elder Bai could not help but groan. Elder Bai, how are you? She didn't know Elder Bai's situation and was a little worried. I'm fine. It was as if a thorn that had been stuck in my body was pulled out. It hurt a little at that moment, but it will be fine after a while, Mr. Bai replied. Yes, it will be better later on. The seal was made up of over 100 obsidian spirit stones, but it was mainly formed by connecting 10 of the main stones. We've already dealt with one of them. We just need to pluck out the remaining 9. Sima Yue understood that it definitely wasn't just a momentary pain. Its voice sounded a lot weaker than before. 9 more times. Little Seven cried out. It hurts so much just once. Grandpa Bai will die from the pain. Little Hay has already suppressed most of its power. It can't completely neutralize it either. Sima Yue was helpless as well. After pulling out the second stone, Sima Yue asked Little Black to stop. Go play with Little Seven for a while. Sima Yue carried Little Black and flew to the shore. She did not want him to continue. If this continued, Master Bai would not be able to hold on. Little Seven took Little Black from her arms and asked, "How is Old White?" "I haven't taken a look yet. It should be fine." Sima Yue comforted her. "I'll take a look first. I'll leave Old White to you," Qingyi said. "Okay." Sima Yue nodded at him and flew back to Old White's roots. "Old White, I want to feel your current condition. Don't resist me," she said to Old White. After getting Old White's response, she placed her hand on the tree trunk and injected her spirit energy to check on his condition. However, other than her contracted beast, she was not familiar with other plant-type spirit beasts. Hence, she could not find anything. She shook her head at Qingyi. Qingyi was silent for a while before flying to Sima Yue. "Qi!" Little Seven cried out in shock and subconsciously pulled on Qingyi's clothes. "You stay up there," Qingyi said, and then landed beside Elder Bai. The power of the black spiritual stone made him frown uncomfortably. "Why did you come down?" Sima Yue asked. "I can see Old White's condition," Qingyi said as he placed his hand on the tree trunk and began to check on Old White's condition. "He's much weaker than before," Qingyi said. "Only 2 of them went out. Old White definitely can't take it anymore." "Then we can only rest first," Sima Yue said. "Rest for a few days and see." Qingyi shook his head. "It's not enough. As long as the seal is not removed, he will only receive a small amount of energy every day. It's not enough for him to use every day." "Then, what should we do?" Before Sima Yue could say anything, she saw Qingyi's body emitting a golden light. An endless stream of life energy was injected into the Tree of Souls. "No, Qingyi, no. Old White did not allow him to do so. This will consume your energy." Qingyi did not speak, but his hands did not stop moving. "Qingyi, if you continue to consume energy like this, it will take twice the effort for half the result." Old White's voice sounded much more energetic. Sima Yue looked at Qingyi. She saw that his face was getting paler and his body was trembling. She went forward and grabbed his hand to stop him from injecting energy. "It's done." She brought him back to the top of the pit. At this moment his body swayed twice. "Qingyi, how are you?" Little Seven threw away Little Black, who was in her arms, and reached out to support Qingyi. "I'm fine. I just need to rest for a while." Qingyi waved his hand. Sima Yue gave him a pill. "This is prepared for the beasts. I'm not sure if it has any effect on you. However, I added some soul fluid. It should be of some help to you." "Thank you." Qingyi took the pill and ate it. His body felt much better. Soul fluid. Sima Yue thought of something. She left the few of them and returned to Old White's side. She reached out to touch the tree trunk. She could feel the life energy under the ancient wrinkles. It seemed that Qingyi's life energy was not wasted. "Old White, since you are the Tree of Souls, then soul-type things should be more useful to you, right?" "Yes." "Then let me try this." Sima Yue took out a bottle of soul fluid. She cut open the tree bark and dripped the soul fluid in. She dripped half a bottle of the soul fluid. Old White absorbed the soul fluid. The entire tree trunk felt much better. Even the few white leaves on the tree were stretched. "Thank you. I haven't felt this comfortable in a long time," Old White said. "It seems that it is useful to you." Sima Yue smiled. "Then how many times can you support it?" "With Qingyi's and yours, I should be able to support it twice." Old White seemed to see hope. "All right, then let's continue. After these 2 times, we will rest. We will continue after Qingyi recovers." "All right." After repeating this twice, 3 months later, Sima Yue finally pulled out all the remaining main stones. To be more precise, all of them were eaten by Little Black into his stomach. Chapter 1731. Sima Yue snatched the remaining obsidian spirit stones from Blackie and kept them in her spirit pagoda. Please search to see the most complete. Update the fastest. If you eat too much, you might get bloated. She flicked Little Black's head, not allowing it to eat anymore. Without the seal, Little Seven and Chingy also came down. Grandfather White, how do you feel now? Seven hugged the tree trunk and asked. It's very comfortable. Although Master Bai's voice was still very tired, he was much more relaxed. Thank you. It's good that you're all right. Sima Yue smiled. Her heart ached for the soul fluid that she had used. However, seeing how happy Little Seven and Chingy were, she felt that it was not a waste. Of course, if it was an ordinary person, she wouldn't be so generous. Sima Yue filled the hole with soil and walked to the side with Little Hay. I'll go meet those spirit beasts. She carried Little Black to the edge of the forest and found the spirit beast that brought her here. My name is Ling. Thank you. Even though he was thanking her, he was still as proud as ever. Sima Yue saw the kindness in his eyes. You've been protecting Master Bai, haven't you? He is protecting the life here, Ling said. What about the other spirit beasts? This is their habitat. Let's mind our own business. But some of them are friendlier. The other one is from the Sage Pavilion? Not really. The spirit beasts that were willing to follow the Sage Pavilion had all left. Those who haven't left are those who want to live freely here, Ling said. They're all old fogies. If we were to fight with the Sage Pavilion, would they jump out to help the Sage Pavilion? Sima Yue asked. I wouldn't have joined in the past, but I can't say for sure in the future. They've imprisoned Elder Bai for so many years. We've been able to live for so long because of Elder Bai's kindness. If Elder Bai wants to take revenge, we will not stand by and do nothing. But it's only for Elder Bai. Master Bai will be very happy that you guys are so considerate. Sima Yue said. Woof woof woof. When Sima Yue was not paying attention, Little Black ran out and came back with a bone in its mouth. It even wagged its tail proudly at her. Oh my god! Sima Yue facepalmed. She was so angry that she didn't even want to talk. Ha ha ha. Why does this little guy of yours think of himself as a dog? Ling was amused by Blackie's obsequious behavior. Sima Yue squatted down, dug out the human bone from Little Black's mouth and threw it away. She said helplessly, I have one or two spirit beasts that are more troublesome. Woof woof woof. Little Black barked at her twice, not knowing if it was agreeing with her. Then you must often have headaches. Ling looked at her sympathetically. Sima Yue smiled. Sometimes I do have a headache. But you dote on it a lot, Ling said affirmatively. Those who are with me are my family, Sima Yue replied. No, you are very fond of it, said the spirit. Sima Yue stared at it for a while and smiled. She did not deny it. She really doted on Little Roar, but this kind of doting did not affect the big picture. You. Little Roar's voice shouted in her mind, making her think that she was hallucinating. What's wrong? She could hear that it was a little excited, but it was not anxious. She guessed that it had encountered something interesting. You were coming to Holy City. You're going to see the cute and adorable me. Are you happy? Little Roar said excitedly. No. Sima Yue poured a bucket of cold water on it. I don't think you're missing me, right? Tell me. What did you encounter that made you so excited? The Holy City Assembly is about to start. We're on the way. I'll contact you when I arrive. You have to miss me. Little Roar said and went silent again. Although Little Roar could not see, Sima Yue still rolled her eyes. Is it that fellow that gave you a headache? Ling said affirmatively. Yes. That fellow. Sima Yue said helplessly but dotingly. It's probably because he thought that something was going to happen, so he's excited. I'm leaving. She brought Little Black back. Little Seven and the rest were still chatting. Little Seven, we're leaving. Little Roar is coming back. I think Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior, and the rest will come too. Holy City should be bustling now. We should go back. Sima Yue said to Little Seven and the other two. If you guys still want to chat, you can stay here and come back when you're done. She thought that it was rare for Little Seven and Ching Yi to meet the same kind of people from that era. They definitely had a lot to talk about. Grandpa White said that he wants to go with us. Little Seven came over and held her hand. Grandpa White said that he has been here for too long, and wants to go with us. He heard that it's fun to follow you. We'll decide when we find a place that he likes. All right. It's more suitable for Old White to recover in the Spirit Pagoda. Sima Yue agreed. After Old White left the land, she kept him in the Spirit Pagoda with Little Seven and the rest. She looked at Little Black, who was retreating on the ground, and shook her head. No, you have to go back. Others have seen you. Once they see you, my identity will be exposed. Woo woo woo. Little Black didn't bark like a dog this time. He just stared at her with his big eyes. I'll bring you to play next time, Sima Yue said. Otherwise, others will recognize me. They all know you. No, unless you change your appearance. Otherwise you can't. When Little Black heard that, he whimpered twice and turned 2 rounds on the spot. Then a little black dog turned into a cute little white dog. He stared at her with his big black eyes. Sima Yue. In the end, she still brought this little white dog that was not intelligent enough and only knew how to act cute and left. Spirit seemed to know what was going on inside. He didn't say much and only said, I'll bring you out. Sima Yue didn't reject him. With him around, she didn't have to worry about anything. Goodbye. After Ling sent her to the place where they met, she left these 2 words and proudly left. Sima Yue brought Little Black back to the bottom of the cliff. When she reached here, she felt that her spirit energy was being suppressed again. Woof woof woof. Little Black was by her feet and barked. Sima Yue squatted down and reached out to pet his head. She looked at the person in front of her cautiously. When she saw the figure clearly, she was very surprised. Assistant Pavilion Master? Why did you come down? Tang Yin saw that she was fine, and heaved a sigh of relief. Why aren't you at the bottom of the cliff? I look around when I have time. Sima Yue comforted Little Black and stood up to look at him. Are you going to face the wall and reflect on your mistakes too? Of course not. Before you came down, didn't you ask me to follow the information you gave me to investigate the relationship between the black-robed men and the Sage Pavilion? There's news. This book came from Chapter 1732. There's news. Yes. Tang Yin continued. Not only that, we also found out that this matter was not done by the Sage Pavilion alone. There is someone behind it, and the person behind it is related to the Qi spirit. What? Sima Yue was shocked. How is it related to the Qi spirit? At first, we also found it unbelievable. Later on, we had no choice but to believe it. Furthermore, and what? We suspect that this matter might have something to do with the Yin clan. With which hidden family? Sima Yue looked at Tang Yin, and had some guesses in her heart. Xianqiu clan. Tang Yin said, I know that you have a good relationship with the young master of the Xianqiu clan, so I came to give it to you after I found out. Sima Yue agreed. She suddenly recalled the incident with the Qi spirit. When she went to save her master, why did the people from the Xianqiu clan appear in such a timely manner? When she returned, the guards told her that someone was looking for her. However, that incident and the people from the Xianqiu clan had only been looking for her for a few days. How could they find her so quickly? Unless they had been there all along, but they didn't want him to go deeper into this matter, so they saved Feng Zhixing and the others. Moreover, they knew that she could summon the heavenly lightning, and had the vermilion bird divine fire. That was why they emptied the tomb so that she wouldn't be able to find anything. When she returned to the clan, she had already cured her father, so she didn't think too much about it. Otherwise, he wouldn't have waited until now to realize that something was wrong. She closed her eyes and asked, Does he know about this? I'm not sure, but I think that as the young master, he should more or less know a thing or two about the clan. Of course, he couldn't rule out the possibility that only those in power in the family knew about this. You can ask him yourself, said Tang Yin. He's here too. Xianqiu clan will be participating in this meeting too. They haven't reached Holy City yet, Tang Yin said. Holy City will be very lively this time. The Holy City. Sima Yue narrowed her eyes. If she could, she wanted the Holy City to disappear from this mainland. Yue, what do you want? Revenge. Sima Yue said. The Sage Pavilion has done so many inhumane things. This is a good opportunity to expose them. But even so, you don't have the power to go against it. The Sage Pavilion's original power was already very strong, and the power hidden behind them was even stronger. Moreover, its relationship with other forces was even more complicated. At such a time, it's even harder to overthrow them. Are you saying that if there are many people participating, will they help the Sage Pavilion? Sima Yue said. This can be their help, but it can also be our help. You want those people to deal with the Sage Pavilion? That possibility is too small. Tang Yin disagreed with her approach. Compared to Yue, he understood the power of the Sage Pavilion better. You think it's impossible? Sima Yue asked. The Sage Pavilion is different from the Yang clan. They have too many branches and too many people who believe in them. They have many connections with many powers. If you want them to turn against the Sage Pavilion, the possibility is smaller. That's because the benefits given to them are not enough. Sima Yue said. If the benefits given to them are enough, anything is possible. Moreover, who says that I don't have the same power as them? Tang Yin saw her confident smile, and was a little surprised. Was there something that he didn't know? Sima Yue saw his expression and smiled. Didn't you say that the Sage Pavilion has many connections with other powers? My power is the same. In fact, I have more connections with other powers than the Sage Pavilion. Moreover, after all these years, they have never given up on investigating the black-robed men. You are. That's right. You forgot that I am the Vice Alliance leader of the Alliance. Sima Yue said. Compared to the Sage Pavilion, the Alchemist Guild, the Armament Masters Guild, the Array Masters Guild, the Beast Tamer Guild, the Seeker Spirit Master Guild and the Spirit Master Guild formed an alliance, whose network is bigger. Ha ha ha, I forgot about that. Tang Yin laughed out loud. Seeing her confident and slightly mischievous look, he understood why he liked her so much. When the black-robed men attacked the various guilds, they were furious. Although it has been a few decades, they have never stopped investigating the black-robed men. Now that they know that it was the Sage Pavilion who did it, how can they just stand by and watch? But it's not long before the convention. They won't be able to make it even if they want to. Tang Yin was still worried. That's not a problem. They are already on the way and should be here soon, Sima Yue said. How do you know? I already sent the news back before I came down. They already know. Sima Yue said. When the time comes, you can go and contact them and tell them the news. What about you? Of course I'm going to stay here and reflect. Sima Yue rolled her eyes at him. I'm being punished to stay here and can't go forward. Tang Yin. Tell them everything you've found out. Then give them my plan for reference. Sima Yue told Tang Yin her plan and said earnestly, I'll leave it to you. You have to work hard. Oh. Tang Yin was unhappy that she was leaving all the work to him. Then what are you going to do? My power is so low. Of course, I'll just watch from the side. Sima Yue laughed evilly. It's better for you guys to be the vanguard. Tang Yin felt that he shouldn't talk to her anymore. Otherwise, he would be angered to death. Actually, it was fine if he was angry. The problem was that he couldn't do anything to her. He could only be angry. This feeling was too unpleasant. Hence, he didn't even say goodbye and left. When he reached the cliff of broken love, he remembered that he hadn't reminded her not to go too deep. It was too dangerous. After thinking about it, he didn't go down. That guy had more ideas than him. Furthermore, he was fine after staying here for 3 months. There shouldn't be any danger. After thinking it through, he left with a peace of mind. Although he was a little resentful towards Sima Yue for making him do these things, he still had to do what he had to do. Who asked him to have a life of hard work? After Sima Yue confirmed that there was no one around, she brought Little Black into the spirit pagoda. Seeing Little Black turn white, the beasties were surprised and pulled it away to chat. Sima Yue didn't care about them. She went to the place where Elder Bai was staying. It wasn't far from Qingyi. At this time, Old White looked much better. There were a few more branches on the trunk, and a lot more leaves. Chapter 1733. Little Seven and the others were chatting when they saw Sima Yue walking over. They smiled and waved at her. Yu, why are you here? I'm here to check on Master Bai and ask if he wants to take revenge, Sima Yue said. Revenge? Elder Bai was stunned. Obviously, he had not thought about this at the moment. Yes. Although the person who trapped you is already dead, the people of the Sage Pavilion have known of your existence for generations, but they have never thought of letting you go. Instead, they have continuously taken from you, causing you to become so weak. Don't you want revenge? Sima Yue asked. We have to take revenge. Of course we have to take revenge, Little Seven said. They caused Grandpa Bai to suffer so much. How can we not take revenge? However, I do have some understanding of the Sage Pavilion. With my current strength, it would be difficult to deal with them. Besides, I don't want to hurt the innocent. Elder Bai's heart was still relatively benevolent. Perhaps they didn't do anything to you, but after so many years, the Holy Monarch has used various pretenses to do many bad things. Not many people are clean, Sima Yue said. I only want to take revenge on their pavilion master, because for generations, only the pavilion master knows of my existence. But with my current strength I can't beat him, Elder Bai said. Let's talk about revenge in a few years. As long as Elder Bai has thought it through, Sima Yue said. This time, we are preparing to deal with the Sage Pavilion, so we came in to ask. Yes. Elder Bai was very grateful to Sima Yue. Your soul has been a little unstable recently. This is my remaining essence. Take it. As he spoke, a branch drooped down, a few drops of milky white liquid trailing from the leaves. Elder Bai, you are not in a good condition right now. How can I take your essence? Sima Yue refused. You saved me and gave me such a good environment to recuperate. I don't mind giving you this. Just bear with it, Elder Bai said. Seeing that she still wanted to refuse, Elder Bai said, the power in your body is getting harder and harder to control recently. And your soul is also affected. Although your soul fluid can increase the strength of your soul, it can't consolidate it. With this, your soul will be more stable in your body. Don't refuse, you need it now. Sima Yue did not expect Master Bai to know so much about her condition, and accept his gift after she was cured. She opened her mouth and the few drops of milky white liquid fell into her mouth. After swallowing the liquid, she felt her entire body relax. Every pore on her body was breathing, as if she had returned to her mother's body. She sat down on the ground. After absorbing all the essence, she could feel that her soul force had become much stronger and more stable. Even the discomfort caused by using a bit of faith power had disappeared. She exhaled a mouthful of turbid air and opened her eyes. She was much more spirited. She stood up and bowed to Elder Bai, saying gratefully, "Thank you for your gift, Elder Bai." Since Elder Bai didn't want to take revenge now, she didn't want to disturb them and left the spirit pagoda. She could communicate with the outside world from the bottom of the cliff, but she couldn't do so from the spirit pagoda. So even if she had nothing to do at the bottom of the cliff, she had to stay there. After that, news from the outside kept coming in. There was news from Little Roar, from the Union Alliance, from Tang Yun, and from the many scarlet bees that she had left outside. It could be said that she had the most comprehensive information. Even Qiuqi might not know more than her. On the day before the meeting, Qiuqi personally came to the bottom of the cliff. Seeing Sima Yue hugging Little Black and shivering, he said, "Do you know your mistake?" This subordinate knows her mistake. Sima Yue obediently admitted her mistake. "Since you know your mistake, let's go up." Qiuqi grabbed her hand and flew to the top of the cliff. His spiritual power was not suppressed at all. She glanced at Qiuqi. Was his spiritual power different from others? Just like her ghost aura. "What are you thinking about?" Qiuqi asked. "Pavilion Master, you don't seem to be affected down there," Sima Yue said softly, pretending to be afraid of him. Qiuqi was very satisfied with her current reaction. It seemed that these few months down there were not in vain. The white fog down there is only suppressing spiritual power. It can't do anything to other powers. I'm only using the power of faith down there. The power of faith can be used like that. Sima Yue was a little surprised. She thought to herself how powerful his power of faith was. Seeing the shock in her eyes, he smiled and patted her shoulder, saying, "You're not strong enough now. Wait until you have enough power of faith in your body. You can do it too. Really? Of course. You have to know that our power of faith can suppress all kinds of spiritual power. No spiritual power can break through the defense that we set up with the power of faith. Sima Yu's eyes widened. Was the power of faith that magical? Then wouldn't Pavilion Master be invincible and undefeatable? No matter how strong those people are, they can't compare to Pavilion Master. If everyone in our sect could do it, then wouldn't our Sage Pavilion's power be first? Ha ha ha! Qiuqi laughed out loud. If it was that easy, why would we be suppressed by others? The power of faith was accumulated bit by bit. It was very difficult to reach the level of the main body. Even for me, if it wasn't for your help last time, I wouldn't have succeeded. Sima Yue was shocked. Her help? She didn't see this in Zhong Zhenghanyu's memories. Could it be that Qiuqi made a mistake? No. She realized that there was a blank space in Zhong Zhenghanyu's consciousness. That was a sealed memory. Could it be that Qiuqi did it? She knew it. Qiuqi's attitude towards Zhong Zhenghanyu was too strange. With her identity, how could she become the holy daughter of the Sage Pavilion, and even personally come to pick her up? She just didn't know what happened between the two of them. Then if we cultivate the power of faith, will there be nothing that can suppress us? If that was the case, her plan had to be changed. Actually, it's not that there isn't, it just doesn't exist. Qiuqi said. Doesn't exist? That's right. You know, our power of faith is obtained from external sources, so it's not pure power of faith. So the only thing that can suppress us in this world is pure power of faith. However, there's no such power of faith in this world. Qiuqi said, cultivate well. When you have enough power of faith in your body, I'll teach you how to use it. Thank you, Pavilion Master. Sima Yue lowered her head, hiding the emotions in her eyes. She now felt that the prophecy that the Sage Pavilion got back then might be true. She was the one who would suppress them. Chapter 1734. Sima Yue followed Qiuqi back. Before leaving, Qiuqi grabbed her shoulder and said, everything will be fine after this is over. After saying that, he left. Sima Yue looked at his back view and felt that he was a little strange. Who knew what Zhong Zhenghanyu's sealed memories were for? Saintess. Gushi appeared behind her and shouted respectfully, let's go back. Sima Yue knew that Gushi was here to pick her up. The moment she turned around, she realized that Gushi looked at Qiuqi differently from other people. When they returned to Zhong Zhenghanyu's place, Sima Yue chased everyone away, leaving only Gushi. Saintess, tomorrow is the meeting. Do you want to have a good rest? Gushi asked. Gushi, you became my personal maidservant after I came to the General Pavilion, right? Sima Yue asked. Then where did you serve before? I used to serve in the Pavilion Master's palace, Gushi replied. Then do you know what my lost memories are? What? Gui looked at her. He didn't know why she asked that. A part of my memory has been sealed, you know that, right? Sima Yue said. Pavilion Master's kindness towards me is a little abnormal. I think it has something to do with my past. Since you were ordered by the Pavilion Master to take care of me, you should know what happened before. This servant doesn't know anything. Gushi lowered her head. Gushi, since you've been with me for so long, you should know that I'm not a good-tempered person. Even if you came from the Pavilion Master. Sima Yue threatened Zhong Zhenghanyu. Saintess, I really don't know. Gushi lowered her head, not letting Sima Yue see the emotions in her eyes. No, you know you can choose or not. But I don't think the Pavilion Master will blame me for accidentally killing a servant girl. After all, at this moment, I should be more important than you. I know you're a smart person and you know what's best for you, Sima Yue said. Gushi paused and immediately knelt down. Her body trembled as she said, Saintess, this servant really doesn't know what happened. I'll only give you 2 minutes to think about it. Sima Yue sat down and picked up the teacup to drink some tea. 2 minutes later, she put down the teacup and stared at Gushi's head. Gushi looked up at her and said, this servant really doesn't know what happened. I only know that I stayed in the Pavilion Master's palace for a night. After that, this servant was assigned to take care of you. As for what exactly happened, I really don't know. Sima Yue looked at her, trying to figure out the truth of her words. After a while, she got up and walked out. When she passed by Gu Shi, she paused for a moment. I know that other than taking care of me, you also keep an eye on me. You can tell this to the pavilion master, if you think you can bear the consequences. After she left, Gu Shi sat paralyzed on the ground. Her clothes were soaked in cold sweat. At that moment, she really felt the murderous intent. Sima Yue returned to her room and set up a spirit barrier. Then, she entered the spirit pagoda and went to the place where Zhongzheng Hanyu was locked up. Zhongzheng Hanyu had already been tortured by her beasts. When she saw Sima Yue, she only raised her eyelids and didn't even make a sound. Sima Yue didn't want to talk nonsense with her. She just checked her body and looked as if she had expected it. What happy thing did you find on me again? I know what your sealed memories are. Sima Yue continued. Do you want to know? Nope. It's definitely not something good coming out of your mouth. Zhongzheng Hanyu sneered and didn't look at Sima Yue. Winner takes all. She was now a prisoner. What else could she do? How do you know it's not something good? Maybe it's something good for you. Sima Yue continued. But I heard that Sage Pavilion's holy maiden must be a virgin. I wonder how Qiuqi concealed your identity. What do you mean? Zhongzheng Hanyu finally looked at her. It's literally what it means. Aren't you curious? You're clearly not a virgin. How did you become a holy maiden? Sima Yue asked. Impossible. I've never done those things before. How could it not be? Zhongzheng Hanyu didn't believe her. I know you want to attack me and make me break down. But it's useless to fabricate these things. Is that so? How do you know I'm fabricating it? Don't you know the changes in your body? Sima Yue smiled happily. I've already helped you check it out. I've also seen your body. Why didn't I realize that you're a great cauldron in the past? Zhongzheng Hanyu's expression changed. Sima Yue wasn't wrong. She knew her own body best. Even the smallest changes could be seen in her eyes. But she had never thought about this problem before. Today, Sima Yue brought it out. Impossible. You're lying to me. She shook her head, unwilling to believe it. Looking at you, you don't seem happy. That's right. You've always valued your body. You're not willing to compromise. You feel that those men aren't good enough for you. Now that you've lost your virginity for no reason, and your memories have been sealed, you really can't be happy. Sima Yue analyzed. However, I think what you're really upset about now is why he wanted you, but sealed your memories, right? Do you feel like you've been played? Shut up. Zhongzheng Hanyu covered her ears and shouted. Sima Yue, you're saying all these without any basis. Don't try to attack me. I won't fall for your trick. How am I trying to attack you? I just feel that you have the right to know the truth. If you really don't want to hear it, then so be it. Sima Yue shrugged. Looking at her pained expression, she smirked. Actually, with your physique, you'll have a better future in Northern Du Clan than in Sage Pavilion. Their cultivation method is especially suitable for you. It's a pity that they're extinct now. Shut up. You slut, other than using these methods to deal with me. What else can you do? Kill me if you dare. Zhongzheng Hanyu shouted. You want to die so badly. Sima Yue leaned in front of her and smiled coldly. I wanted to kill you before, but now I understand that you can only endure more pain if you're alive. I'll repay you for all the pain you've inflicted on me. Here, you'll realize how luxurious death is. Sima Yue, you slut. Slut. I'm going to kill you. Zhongzheng Hanyu attacked Sima Yue, but was caught by her wrist. Chapter 1735. Sima Yue flung her forcefully and Zhongzheng Hanyu was thrown out. Her head hit the wall heavily. When she raised her head, blood flowed down her cheeks and dyed one side of her face red. She glared viciously at Sima Yue, wanting to tear her into pieces. Sima Yue wiped her hands and threw the towel on the floor. She said in disdain, It's useless to look at me like that. You should have known that you would end up like this when you cheated and used my feelings. Just kill me. Zhongzheng Hanyu looked at her. You wouldn't treat your enemies like this in the past. You said that you would kill them directly. Why did you leave me alone? Because I've never hated anyone as much as I hate you. Sima Yoyue's face was filled with hatred. I want you to watch me walk step by step to the top of the world. While you can only look up at me and never be free. You will suffer for all eternity. Zhongzheng Hanyu looked at Sima Yue in disbelief. Sima Yue looked at the pain, anger, and despair on her face and smiled. Tomorrow, I will let you see with your own eyes how the sect that you rely on for survival is destroyed. I will destroy your last hope. After that, she turned and left, instructing Little Spirit to remember to relay the situation outside for Zhongzheng Hanyu tomorrow. Zhongzheng Hanyu laid on the ground, looking at her back as she left. The tears she held back for a long time finally fell. Sima Yue left the spirit pagoda in a bad mood. She remembered that before her mother was killed, she had always told her not to take revenge, and to live a good life. Mother, you know that carrying hatred will make people unhappy, so you gave it to me like that? She murmured. She blinked her eyes a few times, forcing back the tears in her eyes. The next day, Sima Yue went to the main palace early in the morning. She didn't have to do anything today. She just had to stay by Qiuqi's side. Thinking of what she knew last night, she looked at Qiuqi and felt that he was a beast in disguise. You have to stay by my side all the time today, okay? Qiuqi didn't notice her strange behavior and reminded her. Sima Yue felt that something was wrong with his tone and asked, "Did something happen?" "We only found out last night that the ancient spirit beasts got the news from somewhere and rushed over. I'm afraid things won't go so smoothly today." Qiuqi said, "Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior is very powerful. The other ancient spirit beasts are not easy to deal with either. Just remember to follow me today." "Yes, I got it," Sima Yue replied. Seeing that it was about time, Qiuqi led everyone to the venue. Sima Yue followed behind him quietly. She could feel the pressure coming from inside even before she arrived. It seemed like the Sage Pavilion's position was not low. Those who were invited to participate were not ordinary people. After they walked in, the venue immediately quieted down. Qiuqi came to the main seat and sat down. Sima Yue came to the seat beside him and sat down. That seat was higher than the other vice pavilion masters of the Sage Pavilion. "Welcome to today's meeting. I've been quite busy these days, so I hope you can forgive me if I haven't been a good host," Qiuqi said politely. The group of people below replied, "Don't mention it. Time is tight, so I won't waste any more words. I'll go straight to today's main topic and discuss the purpose of this meeting. As everyone knows, the ancient spirit beasts have been acting more and more wildly recently. They've killed humans, seized territories, and chased away the spirit beasts that used to live there. Their actions are too barbaric and pose a great threat to the lives of humans and spirit beasts. So, we have to think of a way to deal with them today." "Pavilion Master Qiu, didn't you invite us here to discuss the matter of the Sky Splitter Devil Sword?" someone below asked. "Indeed, the Sky Splitter Devil Sword is also a problem we have to discuss. But we have to discuss this later. Now we have to discuss the ancient spirit beasts," Qiuqi said. "If we don't solve this problem, countless of us will be threatened by the ancient spirit beasts." Pavilion Master Qiu is right. The ancient spirit beasts have been very rampant recently. The people we sent out have all been killed. Just as Qiuqi finished speaking, someone immediately agreed. Sima Yue glanced at that person. Wasn't that Qiuqi's friend? She pursed her lips. Jumping out at this time, no matter how she looked at it, it was to stir up everyone's emotions. It was obvious that Qiuqi had arranged it. However, it would not be just one person like this. There would be at least a few of them. Only then would it be able to stir up the resonance of the others. Sure enough, just as that person finished speaking, a few more people began to agree. They all ridiculed the ancient spirit beast's actions, and called for everyone to deal with them together. With these people's words, the anger of the others was also stirred up. They all felt that the ancient spirit beasts had gone too far and should be eliminated. "I wonder if Pavilion Master has any good ideas?" Finally, someone raised the key question. "The ancient spirit beast's battle power is too strong. If we deal with them alone, we have no chance of winning. So if we want to deal with them, the best way is to join forces and form an alliance. Then, we can deal with them," Qiuqi said. That's right. I heard that Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior is very strong. Those ancient spirit beasts are also very powerful. If someone leads us, we don't have to be afraid of them. Not only that, if we can capture the ancient spirit beasts and contract them, wouldn't that also increase our strength? But, even if we capture them, we can't contract them. It's impossible for them to recognize an owner. Then, we can't tame them or contract them. Who says we can't tame them? Have you all forgotten? Didn't some people contract many of them? You're from the Sema family of the 64th state? That's right. They can contract so many ancient spirit beasts. They definitely have a way to tame them. As long as we ask sincerely and obtain the method of taming the spirit beasts, even if it's an ancient spirit beast, we can still use it. Sima Yue did not have much interest in these people's words. It was only when she heard the name of the Sema family that she raised her head and looked at them. Very good, very gutsy. Her courage is commendable. Only, I don't know if she can live until then. The Sema family is also not a family to be trifled with. Although their strength has not risen yet, just one Sima Yue is enough to give us a headache. No matter how strong they can't be enemies with the entire continent, right? As long as we join forces, there won't be a problem. This kind of good beast taming method should be shared with everyone, isn't that right? Sima Yue was so angry that she laughed. These people were really shameless. Sect Master Qin, you're so righteous. Then, are you willing to share your sect's cultivation method with everyone? She asked. Chapter 1736. The moment Sima Yue said that, the entire place went silent for a few seconds. Everyone was surprised that she would say that. Saintess, what do you mean by this? Sect leader Qin was very angry. Literally. Sima Yue shrugged. Sect Master Qin, you should share this technique that is beneficial to everyone. Your technique is also very good. Can't we do the same? Hanyu has always been curious about this. Or is it that Sovereign Qin only thinks that the cultivation method of the Sima family is good, but not others? Then he couldn't use this excuse. Go out and embarrass everyone here. Sima Yue mocked. Xian Qiuhe, who was sitting not far away, heard Sima Yue's words. He lifted his head and looked over. When he saw that it was someone he did not know, he frowned slightly. Sect leader Qin's face turned red. He was just looking for an excuse for his robbing. He did not expect to be exposed by Sima Yue in front of everyone. He had lost all his face. Pavilion Master Qiu, what is the meaning of this? Sect leader Qin felt humiliated. He stood up angrily, as if he was going to leave immediately if he didn't give him a solution. Hanyu apologized to sect leader Qin. Qiu Qi instructed. Sima Yue stood up and bowed to sect leader Qin. Please calm down, sect leader Qin. Although my words may not be nice, they are for your own good. For our own good. I want to hear how you're going to help us. Sect leader Qin snorted. All right. Then I'll be Sect Master Qin. Sima Yue said. Do you mean that you want to force the Sima family to hand over the beast taming method? Don't be in a hurry to deny it. We're not 3 years old anymore. We all understand. Sect leader Qin wanted to say something, but she stopped him. His face turned even darker. Although the Sima family isn't strong, you can't just look at them. You have to think about the power behind them. The small factions like Paramount Valley and the Heavenly Province Academy that we are on good terms with are not included. Have you thought about the Phoenix race behind them? Do you think you can fight against Feng people? There's also the entire bird race. Although none of you are weak, compared to the entire bird race, do you have enough chances of winning? I heard that the Violet Water Dragon clan has already conquered the entire Ninth Star Ocean. Can you really fight against all the spirit beasts in the ocean? Sima Yue's words made the people who were hot-headed because of the ancient spiritual beasts sober up. So according to you, we can't touch the Sima family? Another person jumped out. It's not that we can't move, but we need to use another method. We may not get the results we want if we force them, but we can do it at our own expense. As long as we give them enough benefits, they probably won't object. Sima Yue said, falling out with the Sima family completely or becoming friends with them with benefits, Which one do you think is worth it? After that, she bowed to everyone and returned to her seat. Everyone was calculating in their hearts. Although the former had obtained the method of taming beasts, the consequences were endless. On the other hand, although the latter seemed to have lost benefits, it would prevent future troubles. Sima Yue looked at the various expressions of those people and sneered in her heart. If they wanted to touch the Sima family, it would depend on whether they had the ability to bleed. Will the Sima family agree? It seemed like someone was tempted. As long as the phone people and the bird race don't interfere, the Sima family has no other choice. Sima Yue was ambiguous. Actually, smart people should know that her words were not credible. Let the phone people and the bird race not interfere? Was that possible? Therefore, this premise did not exist at all. However, those people had lost their minds at this moment. They only wanted to obtain the method of taming beasts, and did not think about this at all. However, the Sima family is not to be trifled with. If we don't catch the ancient spiritual beasts, the method of taming beasts won't be that useful. Therefore, the premise is to have the ancient spiritual beasts. Qiuqi said. Otherwise, it's not worth offending a bad family for nothing. Therefore, he went back to the topic. After what happened just now, everyone's hearts became lively. If they could obtain the ancient spiritual beasts and the method of taming beasts, their strength would rise again and again. The ancient spiritual beasts' killing intent is too strong. If we don't get rid of them, we will never have a day of peace. I agree to forming an alliance to deal with the ancient spiritual beasts. I agree too. Us too. Qiuqi's lips curled into a smile. Since everyone agrees, then we can set an alliance. In the future, we will all be together. In the future. Bang! A falling figure interrupted Qiuqi's words. Everyone looked carefully. Wasn't it someone from the Sage Pavilion who landed in the middle of the field? Who? Everyone was shocked. They did not notice how this person appeared. This caused a faint panic to rise in their hearts. It was obvious that the other party did not come with good intentions. If he appeared so quietly, wouldn't that mean that his strength was even higher than theirs? If the other party wanted to do something, would they be able to stop him? You are here to discuss attacking the ancient spiritual beasts. Have you asked for our permission? Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior's beautiful and cold figure slowly appeared in the air. Her cold gaze swept across everyone, causing them to tremble. Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior. Everyone shouted. They did not expect her to appear here. Qiuqi's expression was not good, but he was not surprised. Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior, why are you here? My Saint City did not invite you. The fake Holy Sun spoke out. I will go wherever I want to go. You ants have no right to ask. Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior snorted coldly. A ray of spiritual energy attacked him. The fake Holy Sun immediately spat out blood and flew out. Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior, don't go too far. Qiuqi shouted. Am I going too far? You are all here to discuss how to deal with us. Do I still have to greet your people with a smile? Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior snorted. Alright, have you thought about how to die? Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior, you want to kill all of us by yourself? That depends on whether you have the ability. Although everyone's hearts trembled, they did not believe that he could deal with everyone alone. Who says I am alone? The moment Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior's voice fell, countless ancient spiritual beasts appeared in the sky above Saint City. The number of people far exceeded the number of people in the meeting. Hey, Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior, wait. A voice that Sima Yue was familiar with came from outside the meeting. Then, the door was pushed open. Xiachong Tian, He Chundong, Fong Ming and the rest walked in. Little Roar was squatting on his shoulder. Seeing the tense situation, his eyes shone with excitement. Sima Yue looked around. The presidents of the various unions were all here. Everyone was here. Seeing the people from the unions, Qiuqi frowned. How come he did not know that these people were here? Chapter 1737. President Xia, why are you here? Qiuqi asked politely. Please search. To see the most complete. Update the fastest. I know some things so I rushed over. What's wrong? Pavilion Master Qiu doesn't seem to welcome us. Xia Changtian walked up and looked at the people around him, smiling as he greeted a few familiar faces. When the others saw that people from the various guilds had arrived, they all had different expressions. Some were surprised, some were curious, and some were worried. No, I'm just curious. Without an invitation, how did you enter the holy city? Qiuqi said meaningfully. Without an invitation letter, and appearing together with an ancient spiritual beast, everyone was well aware of the meaning behind his words. Old Xia, we don't need to talk so much nonsense. We came here today to ask for an explanation from the Sage Pavilion and the Xianqiu clan. He Chundong stepped forward and looked at Qiuqi and the people from the Xianqiu clan. Back then, during his succession ceremony, if he hadn't made preparations beforehand, the Weapon Craftsman Guild would have met with an unprecedented disaster. Sima Yue looked at Xianqiu He and saw him frowning in confusion. She looked at He Chundong in confusion, not knowing what he meant. President He, what do you mean by this? Qiuqi asked. My Sage Pavilion did not invite you because we only invited powers from the inner regions. We did not mean to look down on you. Why do you have to be so angry and come here to demand an explanation? That's right, President He. You don't have to be so conflicted over such a small matter. Someone echoed. Qiuqi, stop pretending. You know we're not here for this, Feng Ming said. We're here for something else. Something else? He didn't know what was so important that even the old fellows of the Guild Alliance had come out. Could it be that the Sage Pavilion had offended them somehow? Qiuqi, we don't want to beat around the bush with you. We just want to ask you, what are you trying to do by sending so many black-clothed men out to disrupt this world and attack our various guilds? Xiangyang accused. You're doing these dirty things under the cloak of holiness and peace. Didn't the god you believe in say that you can't? What? The black-robed men are from the Sage Pavilion. President Xiang, could it be that you're mistaken? That's right. Why would the Sage Pavilion do such a thing? Qiuqi narrowed his eyes, his tone turned cold as he said, President Xiang, you can't make false accusations about this matter. Xiangyang snorted. Slander? We never do things like that. If we didn't have solid evidence, why would we come here to ask for an explanation? Qiuqi, you don't really think that if you do things secretly, no one will ever know what you're doing, right? Xia Changtian said disdainfully. If you don't want people to know, don't do it in the first place. Since you've done it, there will be a day when someone will find out. Xia Changtian, don't spout nonsense. How could the Sage Pavilion do such a thing? If you spout nonsense, don't blame us for being impolite. TSK. You are all fools who have been deceived by the Sage Pavilion's appearance. Do you really think that the Sage Pavilion is that good? Did I call you here to share the ancient spiritual beasts with you? He's just using you guys as cannon fodder. Xia Changtian pursed his lips. You don't believe me? Did he use the devil sword as an excuse to bring you here? Then do you know that the devil sword is in the Sage Pavilion? Since that's the case, why are you here to discuss the devil sword? The devil sword Sky Splitter was in the Sage Pavilion? Everyone was shocked by this news. Even Sima Yue looked at Qiuqi strangely, wanting to verify if this news was true. Xia Changtian, if you're here to cause trouble, my Sage Pavilion won't be polite. Although Qiuqi didn't look angry, those who were familiar with him in the Sage Pavilion knew that his smile was cold, and he was already angry. Don't be in a hurry to chase us away. Explain the situation clearly, and we'll naturally leave, Xia Changtian said. Didn't you want evidence just now? Bring them here. Sima Yue looked over and saw people escorting a few people over. Those people were all dressed in black, but with one look, she could tell that these people were different from the black-robed men. Xia Changtian, these people aren't the black-robed men at all. If you want to use this to frame the Sage Pavilion, I'm afraid it won't work, right? Sect leader Qin said. Who said these people are the black-robed men? Look carefully before you speak, all right? Xia Changtian rolled his eyes at him. These people are from the Sage Pavilion. Xia Changtian, what are you trying to say? This matter is like this. It'll take a long time and we need some time. You have to be patient. Xia Changtian told everyone about the fox hunting plan. then told them that Siyu and the others had rescued the people, and Gu Qing had sent people from the Sage Pavilion to chase after those people. After that, they were caught by the Guild Alliance, and found out about the matter between the Sage Pavilion and the black-robed men. When everyone heard this, they couldn't believe it. The Sage Pavilion would actually do this? It was too unbelievable. Qiuqi, your pavilion branch's pavilion master is still here. You can't be thinking of denying it, right? He Qindong said. When I took over, you all gave me a big gift. I know that you hate the black-robed men, but you captured a few of my Sage Pavilion's people, and you want to say that it has something to do with us? Qiuqi no longer had a smile on his face. He turned back to look at Sima Yue. He didn't think that the small trouble would become a big problem today. Sima Yue lowered her head apologetically, but there was no remorse in her eyes. When she found Gu Qing, it was for this moment. This was the evidence that she purposely sent to the Guild Alliance. It's very simple. Do you know the truth serum? Just give her a little. Won't that do? Xia Changtian said as he took out a bottle of medicine. Everyone knows about this. Now let's hear the truth. After saying that, he fed her the medicine and threw her to the ground. Xia Changtian, that is the pavilion master of the Sage Pavilion. How dare you abuse her like this? A vice pavilion master shouted and flew over, wanting to bring Gu Qing back. But before he could touch Gu Qing, he was sent flying. He swayed a few times in the air before stabilizing himself. Protective barrier. You're in such a hurry to kill her? Xia Chongqing said proudly. I saw your hand. It's in attack mode. It's a good thing that we were prepared. To deal with these shameless people, we have to be prepared. Fang Ming said. You're right. It's a good thing that we took measures. The people from the Sage Pavilion were all choked by their words, and they were all extremely angry. But under the watchful eyes of the crowd, they couldn't do anything. If they didn't do anything, they would just expose themselves. Needless to say, those people would believe the guild's words. This book came from Chapter 1738. Love. Ugh. Gu Qing on the ground moved and began to struggle uncomfortably on the ground, as if she was trapped. Pavilion Master Gu, we have fulfilled our promise and brought you back to the main pavilion. Now, you should tell everyone the truth. Xiangyang walked to her side and said. Gu Qing opened her eyes and looked at him. What is it? Is the Sage Pavilion related to the black-robed men? Xiangyang asked. Yes. Gu Qing replied. What does it matter? I don't know much either. Then tell me what you know. The fox hunting plan. I only know about the fox hunting plan. What is the fox hunting plan? We will select some women from all over the continent, and then send these women to a designated place. The black people will come and take them away. Gu Qing's words caused an uproar. Many people were stunned by this matter. And the fox hunting plan this time has failed. All the women have been rescued. The saintess was very angry. She asked me to bring people to investigate the mastermind behind this. Your holy maiden is the clearest about this matter. Pavilion Master Qiu, is what he said true? Is the Sage Pavilion really related to the black-robed men? Someone jumped out to ask. That urgent look showed that he had suffered a lot under the hands of the black-robed men. She's just the pavilion master of a branch. His words were not trustworthy at all. Who knows if the Guild Alliance did something to her? Tang Yin stood up and said. How can you believe such words? You can't believe me? Then let your holy maiden testify. Isn't that the case? Fang Ming said. Actually, there's no need to go through so much trouble. Little Roar whispered into Xia Changtian's ear. Xia Changtian smiled and said. Pavilion Master Qiu, as long as you swear that you don't know anything about the black-robed men, and have nothing to do with the Sage Pavilion, we will do as you wish. How dare you? How could I, the Pavilion Master, do such a thing? Then let the holy maiden swear that she doesn't know about the black-robed men, and didn't ask Gu Qing to kill them. Xia Changtian looked at Sima Yue. This request isn't too much, right? We've already taken a step back. If you still want to push back, then... Everyone's gaze landed on Sima Yue, giving her a lot of pressure. She raised her head and looked at the crowd before her gaze finally landed on Qiuqi Saintess, Please make the oath. The members of the trade union alliance kept urging her. I can't. She bit her lips and kept shaking her head. I can't, I don't want to go to hell. Whoosh! Hearing her words, the crowd went into an uproar, and all kinds of discussions sounded out. The black-robed men were really related to the Sage Pavilion. When Qiuqi saw the people below, he knew that he couldn't hide this matter from the people of the Alchemy Guild. If it was an ordinary force, he could deal with it directly. However, the Alchemy Guild was also related to these forces, and would not let him stop them. Why did the people from the Alchemy Guild come here so quietly? How did they know about the black-robed men? And why did they bring people from the Sage Pavilion? Everything was already out of his control. President Xia, you said earlier that you wanted to seek an explanation from the Xianqiu clan. What's going on? What else could it be? Of course it's about the black-robed men. The Xianqiu clan is also involved. Xia Changtian said. Young Master Xianqiu, the last time we met, you couldn't walk or see, but now your body has recovered. Were they reminiscing? Yue cured your body, but you sent the black-robed men to kill her great-grandfather on his birthday. Yue said that you were her friend, and this is how you repay her? Xianqiu, he looked at Sima Yue subconsciously. Seeing that unfamiliar face and her questioning gaze, he said, I didn't know about this at all. What don't you know? You don't know about the black-robed men, or you don't know about killing Yue. The Xianqiu clan did not participate in the black-robed men's matter. Xianqiu, he said confidently, if you don't believe me, I can make an oath. My Xianqiu clan has never. Young master, you can't. Xianqiuji interrupted him, not allowing him to make an oath. Elder Ji. Xianqiu, he looked at Xianqiuji in disbelief. Could it be? Young master, you can't make an oath. Xianqiuji grabbed his hand. Seeing his questioning gaze, his expression was sorrowful. Young master, you can't. What else did Xianqiu he not understand? He slowly put down his hand. Looking at Sima Yue, he opened his mouth, but found that he couldn't say a word. So the clan was really related to the black-robed men. They really did so many evil things, really. They once wanted to exterminate the entire Sima family. Her gaze was not surprised, not shocked, she knew about it long ago. Then what else could he say to her? Say that he didn't know at all? Even if he didn't know, it couldn't erase what the Xianqiu clan had done. Sima Yue looked at his hurt and self-blaming gaze. She wanted to say that she was actually very happy. At least it proved that her judgment was right. Her trust was not let down. But the current situation didn't allow her to do anything strange. Otherwise, if Qiuqi wanted to make a move on her, no one could stop him. Alright, the truth is out now. Xia Changtian said. Qiuqi, it's time for us to settle our debts. Since you're all looking for death, how can I not satisfy you? Men. Qiuqi changed his gentle image. He stopped smiling. His body emitted waves of coldness. Sima Yue, who was beside him, felt the surrounding temperature drop. You don't have to shout. Your Sage Pavilion people have all been poisoned. Other than the people here, you have no backup. Feng Ming said. How is that possible? The Sage Pavilion people present didn't believe it. There were so many people in the Sage Pavilion. How could they all be poisoned? Doesn't the Sage Pavilion have to take a pill every month? Feng Ming didn't finish his sentence, but everyone understood. The Guild Alliance people had done something to the pills. After those people ate the pills, they all lost their ability to fight. How is that possible? Those pills were given internally. How could it be? Could it be that we have a spy? Not only that, that person's position is very high. Qiuqi's gaze first landed on Sima Yue. Thinking about how she had been facing the wall at the bottom of the cliff for the past few months, he immediately eliminated her as a suspect. Are you done? Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior, who had been silently watching the show, spoke up. Then isn't it my turn? After speaking, he looked at the people present. The killing intent in his eyes was very obvious. These people dared to come and discuss how to deal with them. Then don't blame him for starting a massacre here. Those people were regretting it to death. Why did they agree to come to this meeting? It was obvious that they had been cheated. Godfather, wait. Little Roar suddenly spoke up, stopping Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior, who was about to make a move. Chapter 1739. When Sima Yue heard Little Roar's voice, her hands unconsciously trembled. Godfather? When did this guy recognize Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior as his godfather? Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior gave Little Roar preferential treatment. At least he wasn't angry and didn't attack him. What's wrong? He looked at Little Roar, who was flying towards him. He didn't pick him up, but caught him and threw him onto his shoulder. My Yu said that these people were actually tricked into coming here. In the beginning, they didn't know that this meeting was about ancient spirit beasts. Although they deserved to die for being tempted later on, it was better to squash enmity than to keep it alive. Thus he spared them this time. I believe they won't do such a foolish thing again. Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior furrowed his eyebrows and Little Roar continued. You said that the ancient spirit beasts are not a bloodthirsty race. We can't let them misunderstand you guys, right? As it spoke, it grabbed his clothes and acted like a spoiled child. Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior glanced at Sima Yue and Sima Yue nodded slightly, indicating that this was her idea. Although the people of the Sage Pavilion were being controlled, there were still black-robed men under Qiu Qi when these people came out. It would be a battle to the death. The people who had come today included over 1,000 first- and second-rate forces. If these people were all killed by Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior today, it was likely that this broken alliance would be reunited in another form. At that time, the ancient spiritual beasts would be isolated and helpless, and would be hunted down by the entire continent. Then the ancient spiritual beasts would be in great danger. It wasn't that Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior didn't understand this, but today's matter was a provocation to the ancient spirit beasts, so he wanted to kill them all. However, since Sima Yue said so, he would do her a favor. In this way, everyone would owe Sima Yue a favor today. Since Yue said so, I'll let you live. Leave now. If there's a next time, I'll kill you. When those people heard his words, they all walked out. When they met the people from the Union Alliance who were guarding the door, they turned back to look at Xia Changtian and the others. I heard that you guys wanted to take advantage of the Sima family? You didn't expect Yue to save you, did you? Xia Changtian said disdainfully, waving his hand at the guards. We're here today to settle the score with Qiu Qi, not them. Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior isn't going to pursue the matter, so why are we stopping them? Let them go. The guards moved to the side, and the people who had been scolded until their faces turned red left dejectedly. However, they didn't go too far. Instead, they chose to observe the situation from a safe distance. They all had the same thought in their hearts. The Sage Pavilion was finished this time, very quickly. There were only people from the Sage Pavilion, and the Xianqiu clan left. Xia Changtian interjected. Where are your black-robed men? If you don't call him out now, I'm afraid you won't have another chance. Qiu Qi didn't pretend anymore. He took out a signal flare and ignited it. Very quickly, many black-clothed men gathered outside the ancient spiritual beast. Every one of them was very powerful. Since you all want to die, how can we not satisfy you? Qiu Qi sneered. I heard that the Sage Pavilion has a special spirit technique that can use the power of faith. Let me test it out. Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior didn't like to waste words, and directly attacked Qiu Qi. Qiu Qi went up to meet him, and the two of them flew into the air to fight. This also signaled the start of the battle. The Guild Alliance, the black-clothed men, and the ancient spiritual beast were all in a mess. The entire sacred city was in a state of battle. Tang Yin didn't join in the battle. Instead, he pulled Sima Yue and quickly left the battle area. Don't go. Don't participate in the battle between those people. Tang Yin warned. Just stay here and watch. Hong Wei, stay here and protect her. Hong Wei appeared out of nowhere. When she saw Sima Yue, her expression was a little embarrassed. Big brother, you're going to fight? I still have things to do. Tang Yin said. Remember, you can't leave Yue's side. Do you understand? Sima Yue grabbed onto him. What are you going to do? I snuck in here. Naturally, I have my mission. Tang Yin said. It's very safe here. You can stay here and don't go out. Do you understand? After speaking, he pulled his hand out and quickly disappeared from their sight. The two of them fell into a short silence. In the end, it was Hong Wei who spoke first. I'm sorry about what happened last time. I didn't know you were the Lord's woman. I've offended you. Please don't take it to heart. Then what did you think it was? The fake Holy Son is interested in me? Sima Yu understood when she saw the way she was acting. It turned out that she was jealous, and she was just implicated. I didn't know at that time. You can't tell the Lord. I don't want to be thrown into the smelly ditch again. Hong Wei said. Thrown into the smelly ditch. When I was in the devil realm. At that time, I didn't know it was the Lord. I thought it was that guy, so I went up and flirted with him. In the end, I was thrown into the smelly ditch. If it wasn't for my brother, he would have killed me. As she spoke, she made a gesture of slitting her throat. Sima Yue was amused by her actions. It seemed like this woman's personality was rather straightforward. She didn't think that Wu Lingyu would do such a thing. Thinking of Wu Lingyu, she suddenly thought of the Sage Pavilion's divine medicine and said to Hong Wei, "Stay here. I'll be back soon." "Where are you going?" "I'm going to find something." "I'll go with you. My brother instructed me not to leave your side." Hong Wei quickly chased after her and left with her. Zhong Zhenghan Yu had never entered the Sage Pavilion's medicine pavilion, but she had passed by it a few times. Sima Yue followed her memory and found the medicine pavilion. The people in the medicine pavilion were also taken down. She didn't know how Tang Yin did it. To be able to poison everyone in the Sage Pavilion, this method could be considered heavenly. The two of them walked in and saw people lying on the ground. Many of them were holding medicinal herbs in their hands. But their divine senses were still awake. When they saw the two of them, their eyes widened. Sima Yue walked over and picked up a medicine boy. "Where's the divine medicine phoenix Nirvana?" "It's actually you traitor." The medicine boy looked at Sima Yue hatefully. "Holy maiden, why did you?" Before he could finish his words, a long sword pierced through his heart from the side. Sima Yue turned to look at Hong Wei. The latter pulled out her sword. "He has something in his hand." Sima Yue looked and saw a small black thing in his hand. If he wasn't trying to send a message, he was trying to assassinate her. "Thank you." She nodded gratefully. Then, she used her divine senses to enter the medicine boy's sea of consciousness and found out where the divine medicine was. Chapter 1740. Sima Yue and Hong Wei went around the main hall and came to the herbal field at the back. There are so many good medicinal herbs here. Hong Wei looked at the herbs in the medicine field and excitedly rubbed her hands together. Her eyes were shining just like little roars. "You don't need it. Why did you take it?" Sima Yue glanced at her. "Hee, although I can't use it, I can sell it. I can exchange it for money and things," Hong Wei said. "I'll get it. We'll split it later." Sima Yue looked at the herbs. Although they were rare, they were not very attractive to her. "No need, these are for you." After that, she walked around the herb field and headed towards the deepest part of the small herb field. That was where her target was. In the innermost medicinal field, there were no other medicinal herbs planted around it. There was only a short and ugly little tree. "This is the phoenix's nirvana." She moved forward but was blocked by a barrier. Why do these people like to use enchantments to protect their treasures? She curled her lips. This kind of enchantment was completely useless. She used the power of the contract to summon Little Roar back. Little Roar, who was waving flags and cheering by the side of the battlefield, suddenly disappeared from his original position, giving Xia Chong Tian and the others a fright. "Yu, why did you call for me? I was just about to watch." Little Roar saw Sima Yue and complained softly. "There's a barrier here. I want you to help me get in," Sima Yu said. "Yu, what is this? It looks so ugly." Little Roar curiously looked at the phoenix's nirvana. "Divine medicine. This is the phoenix's nirvana? Why is it different from what I expected?" Little Roar said in disdain. "It doesn't matter if it looks good or not, as long as it's a godly medicine." Sima Yue grabbed Little Roar and fused with him before stepping into the medicine field. "Yu, there's something outside this divine medicine." Little Roar felt that something was wrong the moment he entered and reminded her. Sima Yue nodded and walked over carefully. She did not encounter any obstacles. However, She didn't let her guard down. Thus, when that soundless attack came from the phoenix's nirvana, she accurately dodged it. Yeah, it's a life-bound beast. Sima Yue finally saw clearly that there was a small transparent snake curled up at the root of the phoenix's nirvana. Little golden snake, can you handle it? Sima Yue looked at it carefully and asked in her heart. I can't. This guy is strong, but Red Flame can. Little Gold said. Sima Yue was curious. Even the little golden snake could not suppress this transparent snake. What was its origin? The life-bound beasts of divine herbs are very strong. It's not because of their strength, but because they're protected by the heavenly Tao, the snake explained. I see. I didn't expect the divine herb's life-bound beast to be so powerful. Qi Yan, I'll have to trouble you. Sima Yue called Qi Yan out. Ever since this fellow obtained the inheritance of the old vermilion bird, he had become even more depressed. He would often remain silent in the spirit pagoda. This phoenix nirvana was originally related to the Phoenix clan. As soon as Qi Yan came out, that transparent little snake immediately came over affectionately. He didn't even need to lift a finger to lure it away. Sima Yue was speechless. She took a deep breath. She didn't want to be like Beastie. Phew. She walked over and dug out all the soil around the Phoenix nirvana. She kept it in the spirit pagoda and handed it to Little Spirit. Yue. Hong Wei ran in from outside looking anxious. Have you picked all the herbs? Sima Yue asked. Yue, something happened to my brother and the others. I have to go and find them. Hong Wei said, stay here and don't go out. When it's over, we'll come and get you. What happened? I'll go with you. Sima Yue said. No, my mission is to protect you. I've already disobeyed the order by leaving you here alone. If I bring you there, how am I going to explain to my brother? You're not as strong as your brother, right? If even he can't handle it, it's useless for you to go. At least I'm stronger. Sima Yue said. If there's any danger, I can protect myself. Hong Wei thought about it and agreed in the end. Let's go and talk. She pulled Sima Yue's hand and flew towards the venue. Along the way, they saw many corpses from all sides. The once prosperous and holy city had turned into a sea of blood. Sima Yue looked at the corpses and was in a daze. Part of the reason for the loss of these lives was because of her. If she hadn't provided the poison to Tang Yun, the people from the Sage Pavilion wouldn't have been defeated so easily. She didn't feel that she was in the wrong, but facing so many lives that had been lost, she still felt a little guilty. My little bug is here. My brother and the others are trapped in the venue. Hong Wei's voice trembled. Qiu Qi has already found out that my brother betrayed him and has beaten him to a pulp. How can that be? Sima Yue was surprised. We have so many people, but we can't beat those black-robed men. It's mainly Qiu Qi. He used the power of faith to set up a barrier. Even Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior couldn't do anything about it. Now that they can't get out of the venue, they can't defeat him either. Sima Yue thought about what Qiu Qi had said before. It turned out that not only could he use the power of faith as a defense, he could also attack and besiege. Who are trapped now? My brother, Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior, the Xianqiu clan, and some people from the Guild Alliance. Sima Yue's heart sank. Even Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior couldn't beat him? Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior's power was definitely above Feng Xiang and the others. If he couldn't do anything, then they wouldn't be able to do anything. When they arrived near the venue, there were more and more people fighting. Some blind people attacked them. Hong Wei took out a blood-red whip and dealt with one with a swing. She quickly took Sima Yue to the outside of the venue. Puchi. The people from the Guild Alliance and the ancient spirit beasts were attacking the barrier outside the venue. However, all the attacks were useless against the barrier. They were all absorbed. I didn't expect the power of faith to be so powerful. Hong Wei saw this scene and couldn't help but sigh. At the same time, she was even more worried. Sima Yue saw Feng Ming commanding the people from the Guild Alliance. She ran over and asked, President Feng, where are they? The few presidents knew that she was disguised as Zhongzheng Hanyu. They recognized her when they saw her. Old Xia and Old He are inside. There are also dozens of people. If we can't break this, they won't be able to get out. Sima Yue couldn't see the situation inside clearly. However, she knew that the situation wasn't good from the sounds. If it was a normal battle, there would be sounds. However, there wasn't any movement inside. Ming and the others' attacks were useless. They were all dissolved by Qiuqi. Ah! An unfamiliar voice came from inside. Sima Yue frowned even more, because this voice came from Wu Lingyu's substitute. Hong Wei heard the scream and lost her mind. She kept attacking the barrier. Chapter 1741. Sima Yue pulled Hong Wei back and tried to calm her down. It's useless. Please search to see the most complete. The fastest is just a waste of spiritual energy. What should we do? I can't open this barrier. Hong Wei's body was trembling, but she still tried to calm herself down. I have to find a way to open it. They won't last long in there. I'll go in and take a look. Sima Yue said. Can you open it? Hong Wei grabbed her hand. Can you open it? I can pass through the enchantment. Sima Yue said. She pulled Hong Wei to Fang Ming's side and said, President Fang, please take care of her for me. Can you go in? Fang Ming asked. When I fuse with my contracted beast, I can pass through the barrier. I'll go in and take a look. But inside, I can protect myself, Sima Yue said and flew towards the wizardry barrier. Before Fang Ming could finish his sentence, he saw Sima Yue's figure pausing for a moment before entering the barrier. He didn't expect that she would really be able to enter. Once Sima Yue crossed the wizardry barrier, she saw the situation inside clearly. Qiuqi and Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior faced each other in the air. The others were on the ground, all of them injured. Seeing her enter, everyone's expressions changed. Xiachong Tian, He Chun Dong and the others' eyes lit up. The Sage Pavilion's people's reactions were milder, as they felt that her entering didn't have much of an effect. Xian Qiuhi's body shook when he saw her. He said anxiously, Why are you here? Sima Yue did not know how Xian Qiuhi recognized her. Previously, during the meeting he looked at her strangely. Now, she was even more certain that he had recognized her long ago. She nodded at him, and came to the side of Tang Yin and Wu Lingyu's substitute. Seeing the substitute continuously vomiting blood, she took out a pill and handed it to Tang Yin. This was left behind by Mo Sha. Sima Yue said to Tang Yin, the blood that Wu Lingyu's substitute spat out was not normal red, which meant that he was also a demon, and human pills were useless to him. Tang Yin took the pill, thanked him, and fed it to him. Holy daughter, they are traitors of the Sage Pavilion. The people of the Sage Pavilion saw that she was actually helping Tang Yin, and reminded her. I know, Sima Yue said. Then why are you still helping him? Before they could finish their words, they saw that the person they were familiar with had become another person. A person who was popular throughout the continent. Sima Yue. How could you be Sima Yue? The people from the Sage Pavilion were shocked. Aren't you the Holy Maiden? Qiuqi and Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior happened to stop. When they saw Sima Yue, Qiuqi's face darkened. Where's Han Yu? I caught him. Sima Yue said. Qiuqi, your Sage Pavilion is finished. Why are you still resisting? Did you give Tang Yin the poison? Qiuqi asked. That's right. You have no enmity with my Sage Pavilion. Why do you want to deal with us? No enmity? Qiuqi, don't you feel ashamed when you say that? Sima Yue laughed coldly. You put on a holy coat and did those heartless things. Do you still think that you are righteous? Don't joke around. Everyone in the world is not stupid. Exterminating the Shiman family and attacking the Sima family. Just these 2 points are enough to make me and the Sage Pavilion irreconcilable. What a great fight to the death. So you purposely lured Gu Qing to kill those people and exposed your weakness to others. From then on, you had already replaced Han Yu. Qiuqi guessed. That's right. After I released those girls, I captured Zhongzheng Han Yu. From her memories, I knew about the relationship between the Sage Pavilion and the Black Robe people. That was why I went to find Gu Qing and returned to the Sage Pavilion. I also passed the news to the Guild Alliance and the ancient spirit beasts. How could such a big meeting be done without the person involved? So, All of this is thanks to you. You are the mastermind behind the scenes. You are the one who destroyed the Sage Pavilion, Qiuqi said. Suddenly he thought of something and stared at her. You are the woman in the prophecy, the female full attribute spirit master. Sima Yue did not deny it. After hiding it for so long, there was no need to hide it anymore. Wu Lingyu knew about your identity long ago, right? Qiuqi said again. All these years, the Sage Pavilion spent so much effort to find the woman in the prophecy. He didn't even know how many people they killed. He didn't expect that she would still grow. If it wasn't for Wu Lingyu's cover, how could there be no news from the Sage Pavilion? Since you know that it is a prophecy, it cannot be changed. Even if you kill so many innocent girls, the result will still be the same, Sima Yue said. The prophecy said that the Sage Pavilion would be destroyed in the hands of a female full attribute spirit master. Because of this, the Sage Pavilion sent people to find the girl in the prophecy and killed many suspicious people. But they still couldn't find Sima Yue. Today, even if Qiuqi didn't die, the Sage Pavilion couldn't be rebuilt. In this chaotic world, without the main pavilion, the branch pavilions wouldn't be able to hold on for long and wouldn't have their former glory. So a prophecy was a prophecy and couldn't be changed. Hahaha. Qiuqi was so angry that he laughed. Do you really think that you can kill me? Since you are pretending to be Hanyu, you should know that your attacks have no effect on me. So what if you are an ancient spirit beast? You still can't break through my defense. Speaking of this, Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior's expression was ugly. His power was obviously higher than Qiuqi's, but his attacks were all dissolved by Qiuqi's shield. The damage done to him was minimal, but he used up a lot of his spirit energy. Isn't it just the power of belief? As long as you break it, do you think you can get out alive? Sima Yue laughed coldly. You know that this is the power of belief, but you still dare to speak so arrogantly. Even Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior can't do anything to me. So many of you working together is useless. What can you do? Ha ha ha. Qiuqi laughed maniacally, launching a few attacks at the people below. Is what he said true? Sima Yue asked Tang Yin. He nodded. Our combined attack didn't even touch him at all. Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior's attack also caused very little damage to him. His shield seems to be able to dissipate our attacks. He did say that the power of belief can dissipate our attacks. I didn't think that it would be so powerful. Sima Yue was also surprised, but he said it himself, it's not like he can't control it. You have a way? Tang Yun looked at her expectantly. If Qiuqi wasn't eliminated today, there would be endless trouble in the future. If Sima Yue could break through his defense, they would be able to take his life today. Sima Yue was hesitant. It wasn't that she wasn't willing, but she wasn't confident. If she really did that, she wouldn't be able to control herself. President. A sharp cry attracted her attention. She raised her head and saw Xiaochang Tian falling from the sky, and Qiuqi chasing after him. This book came from Chapter 1742. President. Sima Yue was shocked. Everyone else was lying on the ground, unable to move. She had no time to react. She leaped up and caught him, quickly dodging Qiuqi's attack. Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior came from the side and stopped Qiuqi. However, he was unable to stop Qiuqi's next attack. Be careful. Xianqiu he teleported behind Sima Yue and helped her dissolve the spiritual energy. Xianqiu he, which side are you on? Qiuqi shouted. Xianqiu he stood in front of Sima Yue. I don't care what agreement you made with my father, and I don't care how you deal with the others. But you can't kill Sima Yue. She's the one who ruined all our plans. Do you still want to protect her? Qiuqi questioned. You can't kill me. Xianqiu he stood in front of Sima Yue and refused to budge an inch. The men in black looked at him, not knowing if they should attack. Then I'll kill you as well. I believe that your father won't cut off our connection for you. Charge. Qiuqi ordered the black-clothed man. He was filled with murderous intent, and did not plan to let him off just because of his identity. Then let's see if you can kill me. Xianqiu he took out his weapon. He was still very serious towards the black-clothed man. However, those black-clothed men did not attack directly. They still had some scruples toward Xian Qiuhe. Sima Yue placed President Xia on the ground, and the members of the Guild Alliance quickly surrounded him. She turned around and looked at Xian Qiuhe's back. A trace of warmth flowed through her eyes. "Thank you, Crane." Xian Qiuhe turned and saw the smile on Sima Yue's face. It was so warm and pure. She didn't blame him, nor did she despise him. She even believed in him. At this moment, he felt that this was the best reward he had ever received. "Take them and leave. I can hold them off for a while," he said. She could pass through the barrier, so it was not difficult for her to leave. However, Sima Yue shook her head. She looked up at the rampant Qiuqi and the increasingly tired Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior. She muttered, "There's no other way, leave. I'll think of a way to deal with him." Xian Qiuhe saw her determined gaze and suddenly felt uneasy. He wanted her to leave quickly. "Do you have a way?" Sima Yue asked. "Come, there will be. Then there's none." Sima Yue said. "It seems like this is the only way." Xian Qiuhe grabbed to Sima Yue Sima. To break, to defend, no matter how many people's to uses as to Yue, Yu's to be to protect to be, there's no to, no. As Sima Yu's. To repay to me to us to be to die. I can't just watch them die. But you can't beat him. Xian Qiuhe frowned. "I have a way," Sima Yue said. "If I can break his defense, you can't let him escape." It's nice to meet you," Sima Yue smiled at him. She pulled her hand out of his grasp. "Yue." The uneasiness in Xian Qiuhe's heart grew. But Sima Yue had already flown into the air. Her body emitted a holy light. "This is..." Qiuqi's eyes widened in disbelief. How is this possible?" Everyone else was stunned when they saw Sima Yue. That light made Sima Yue look extremely holy. Their irritable, anxious, worried and uneasy hearts all calmed down. Even their souls were elevated. "This is the power of holiness." Xia Changtian and the rest looked at Sima Yue in a daze. "I didn't expect her to have such power." Sima Yue gathered the power of faith in her hand. She smiled at Qiuqi proudly, then attacked the enchantment. That barrier was originally set up by Qiuqi using the power of faith. Now that it encountered the power of faith that contained the way of the heavens, it was completely restrained. With just one strike, the barrier that made everyone helpless instantly collapsed. At this moment, the people outside could see the situation inside clearly. That power. Everyone could feel that Sima Yue was different, but they quickly reacted. "Brother." Hongwei ran to Tang Yin and the rest. "Are you guys okay?" "We're fine. How are you?" Tang Yin saw that there was a lot of blood on her body and thought that she was injured. "I'm fine too. This is other people's blood," Hongwei said. "How was this enchantment opened?" "Yue opened it." Tang Yin looked at Sima Yue. He was not as relaxed as the others. "Yue opened it?" Hongwei was surprised. Since she could open the enchantment, why didn't she do it just now? How is that possible? How can you have the power of faith? Qiuqi was shocked. Her power of faith was born from the heavens. It contained the power of the heavens. It was the only power in the world that could restrain him. True faith is not something that you guys intentionally obtain. Sima Yue said. You guys have done so much, but how many people actually acknowledge you? You can only get so much just to numb the ordinary believers. Ugh. Fresh blood flowed down from the corner of her mouth. She felt that her body was in turmoil. She tried her best to suppress the chaotic power, wanting to hold on for a while longer. Yue. He kept looking at her. He could tell that she was not feeling well at all. That pale face, that frown, the blood at the corner of her mouth, all of these stimulated his nerves. It's because there are too many people like you that the world has become so chaotic. Let's start with you. With that, she used all of her power to release the power of faith. The vast power made the entire sacred city quiet down. Then it spread outwards, allowing those who were watching the show to feel their souls being cleansed. Let's start from the very beginning with you. Her voice entered everyone's hearts along with the power of faith. It shocked those fanatical and numb hearts. Pop, Chiyochi's defensive layer was broken by Sima Yoyue's power of faith. It turned into spots of light and disappeared into the air. Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior, I'll leave the rest to you. Sima Yue spat out a mouthful of blood. Thousand Resonance and Little Roar, who were fused with her, were ejected. She lost all of her power. Her entire body fell down like a broken doll. Waves of white light shot out from her body, blinding everyone's eyes. Everyone was stunned by this turn of events. She was still smiling at everyone in a holy manner just now. In the blink of an eye, she became like this. As cultivators, they all understood that the spiritual power in her body was out of control. Her body was about to explode. Dark Qi, Light Qi. She has both black and white powers in her body. She can't control those powers. Xianqiu he quickly flew up, wanting to catch Sima Yue. However, before he could get close, he was sent flying by the power of Sima Yoyue's explosion. Yue, Vice Alliance Leader. Chapter 1743. Standing outside the library pavilion, she raised her head and looked at the three flamboyant words on the door plaque. For a moment, she could not distinguish reality from her memories. Standing outside the library, she raised her head to look at the three flamboyant words on the door plaque. For a moment, she could not distinguish reality from her memory. When she first stepped into the library pavilion, she was also a good-for-nothing who could not cultivate. The first time she stepped into the library pavilion, she was also a good-for-nothing who could not cultivate. Now she had to start all over again. However, this time was different. She had the power bestowed by the elder ancestor. As long as her soul cultivation increased, she could open the seal layer by layer and truly accept the elder ancestor's power. Miss, you have never been to the library pavilion before. What kind of books do you want to read? Ting Shan reminded her when he saw her staring blankly at the door plaque. Sima Yue came back to her senses and said, "Where are the books on cultivation methods?" On the second floor. The first floor is filled with books on various aspects. The second floor is about cultivation, and the third and above are about spiritual techniques. Then I'll go take a look on the second floor. You can wait for me here. Sima Yue instructed Ting Shan. Ting Shan remembered Murong Jun's order to treat Sima Yue like how he treated his previous Mississippi. Therefore, she obediently stayed on the first floor. After Sima Yue went up, she saw a few books on cultivation on the outer shelves, but they were basically about the cultivation of ghost qi. As for the cultivation of the soul, it was only mentioned once or twice. Finally, she saw a thin, tattered book on the edge of the shelf. There's only such a tattered book. She took the book down a little disappointed. You're looking for the cultivation method of a soul body. An old voice rang out beside her, giving her a huge fright. Who's that? She looked around and felt a breathing sound behind her. She quickly turned around and saw a short and small old man looking at her with his hands behind his back. Hello, may I ask who you are? I'm just a cleaner, the little old man said. Are you looking for the cultivation method of the soul? I'm just looking around. Sima Yue pretended not to care. It's good to cultivate soul power. Unfortunately, the good cultivation method of soul power is about to be lost, the little old man said. However, for a soul like you, this is the only thing you can cultivate now. Sima Yue was shocked. How did you know? That she was a soul? This little old man has good eyesight, the little old man said with a smile. Sima Yue became alert. She remembered that the elder ancestor had said that when he helped her condense a body, ordinary people would not be able to tell that she was a soul. However, this old man was able to discover it with just a glance. How powerful was he? I wonder if Mir can deal with him. The little old man saw that her expression only changed slightly. He stroked his beard and said with a smile, You don't have to worry. This little old man won't do anything to you. Then why did you expose me? I'm just curious. How did you condense a body? Looking at you, you haven't even started cultivating as a soul, have you? The little old man's smile made him look friendly. Before I came to the world of spirits and souls, one of my elder ancestors helped me condense a body, Sima Yue said. She said this to tell him that she also had a very powerful elder ancestor. Secondly, it was to tell him that her elder ancestor was not from the world of spirits and souls, so he should not ask who he was. The little old man understood what she meant, and did not continue to ask. He walked to the innermost bookshelf, squatted down and rummaged for a while. Then he took out a book and handed it to Sima Yue. This book is much better than the one you have in your hand. Sima Yue took the book. It was a thick book. Although some corners were missing, there were no missing words or pages. It was indeed much better than the one in her hand. Thank you. She smiled at him and said gratefully, being a soul cultivator is much harder than being a ghost cultivator. Little girl, the road ahead is going to be difficult. The little old man sighed and left the second floor. Sima Yue looked at his back and clenched the book in her hand. She naturally did not believe that he was a janitor. He must be a very powerful senior in the Morong family. However, he came out to expose her and find a book for her. What was his purpose? Curiosity was not a valid reason. Whatever, if he really wanted to harm her with Mill around, even if he could not turn the world upside down, it would not be a problem for her to leave. She put the two books away, turned around, and went downstairs. Seeing Ting Shan standing outside the library, she asked, "Is there a skinny old man who cleans the library?" "A skinny old man? There isn't. The library has always been cleaned by a maid," Ting Shan replied. "Oh, let's go back." Sima Yue was not surprised. It seemed that her guess was right. When they returned to the courtyard, she shut Ting Shan and Ting Shui outside, and told them that she was going into closed-door cultivation, and that no one was allowed to disturb them. If anyone came in, she would sell them to a brothel. She did not have any spiritual power now, so she could not set up a barrier. She could only rely on external forces. Ting Shan and Ting Shui knew that Morong she had sold a maid in the past, and they heard that the maid ended up in a miserable state. Now that they heard this, both of them became 120% vigilant. They were determined not to let any Tom, Dick or Harry in. Therefore, when Gongzi Yuan came, he was mercilessly blocked outside by the two of them. Cultivation? Can she cultivate? Isn't she a wastrel like she? Gongzi Yuan muttered as he left. If Sima Yue knew about this, she would definitely roll her eyes at him. Who said that she was a wastrel and could not cultivate? She hadn't even started cultivating yet, okay? She first flipped open the old and thin book. As expected, there were no cultivation methods in it. In the words of the little old man, it was not very useful. She flipped through the book roughly. It was just an introduction to soul cultivators. Soul cultivators referred to those who died in other realms. Their souls would enter the ghost realm and start cultivating again. Soul cultivators were very weak in the beginning, so it was hard for them to survive. Ghost cultivators referred to those ghost clans who cultivated ghost energy. When Sima Yue was alive, she was also considered a ghost cultivator. Ghost cultivators were much more powerful than soul cultivators. This was because ghost cultivators could form contracts with nether beasts. They could become soul cultivators at the same time as ghost cultivators. Other than ghost energy, they could also use the power of the soul in battle. Moreover, some ghost cultivators cultivated the nether skills to suppress soul cultivators. They could even control soul cultivators as their slaves and subordinates. Therefore, there were fewer soul cultivators in the ghost realm. However, once they grew up, they would be very powerful. They could dominate a part of the ghost realm. Because there were many powerful soul cultivators, the ghost cultivators chose to kill soul cultivators in the cradle. In recent years, there were even fewer soul cultivators. However, there was an exception. It was the Soul Society. The elder ancestor had said that at the foot of the Nine Spirits Mountain, when the ink lotus bloomed, the three domains of the ghost realm would not dare to disobey. These three domains referred to the ghost realm, the Soul Society, and the infernal hell. The Soul Society was the domain where soul cultivators lived. It was on par with the ghost realm and the infernal hell. It was enough to show its status and power. Chapter 1744. Master Yinlin, are you here to save Sima Yue? Can Yue come back to life? Can he still be saved? Xia Changtian asked. Don't worry, it's not over yet. Yinlin's voice had a calming effect. With his words, everyone's hearts calmed down. Wu Lingyu looked at Yinlin. What ideas do you have? It wasn't me. Yinlin shook his head. It was the Phoenix Master. Feng Ruyan stepped forward and took out a jade bottle. She poured the emerald green liquid into Sima Yoyue's mouth. Then, she hugged Sima Yoyue's body and injected her spiritual energy into her body. She guided the energy into her internal organs and meridians. After a while, the paleness on Sima Yoyue's face began to dissipate, and color returned to her face. A few minutes later, everyone could feel her life force again. He's alive. She's alive. Xia Changtian and the rest cried out. Sima Yue really came back to life. On the other hand, Little Roar and Thousand Resonance's life force also stopped flowing. The two of them turned into a silver light and returned to Sima Yoyue's body. Sima Yoyue's eyes moved, but she did not wake up. Yue. Feng Ruyan stood up from the ground and said to the people who were calling her. You don't have to call her. She won't wake up. Why? Didn't she come back to life? Hong Wei asked. Her soul has already left her body. Without her soul, she is unable to wake up. Feng Ruyan explained. Where is her soul? I'll go after him. Has he already gone to the ghost realm? Wu Lingyu said. No. Yinlin shook his head. I can't divine her soul, so I'm guessing that she hasn't gone to the ghost realm yet. He didn't know where her soul was. If he couldn't find her, she wouldn't wake up. Tang Yin, instruct the people of the devil realm to put everything aside and head to the ghost realm to search for Yoyue's soul. We must find her. Wu Lingyu ordered. My lord, what's the current situation in the demon realm? Tang Yin subconsciously wanted to stop her, but Wu Lingyu glared at him, causing him to swallow his words. You don't have to worry, everything has its own destiny. Yinlin said. Although I don't know where she is now, she will go to the ghost realm in the future. However, even if you send people, they won't be able to find her. They have no fate with her. I must find her, Wu Lingyu said. When it's time for her to return, she will naturally return. Otherwise, it would be meaningless for us to save her breasts. Yinlin consoled. She's coming back? What happened today is her tribulation, and also her destiny. She was destined to go to the ghost realm. You just need to protect her body well, and don't let her last breath go. Then just wait. She will come back one day. Yinlin said. Hearing him say that, Wu Lingyu's emotions finally stabilized. He bowed deeply to Feng Ruyan and Yinlin. I will never forget the favor of saving my life. I didn't do anything. Yinlin said. That thing was found by Feng Ruyan. Aunt Feng, thank you. Although Wu Lingyu didn't know what she gave Yue to eat, for her to come back to life, it must be something extraordinary. Yinlin told me to prepare it. Feng Ruyan said lightly. If there's anything you need, just tell the Feng people directly. Okay. Wu Lingyu didn't reject. To ensure that Sima Yue didn't die, they would need to spend a lot of medicinal ingredients. Spending was secondary. The most important thing was that some treasures were hard to find. With the Feng people, everything would be much easier. Xianqiu he had been silent ever since Wu Lingyu appeared. From hope to disappointment, and then to hope. He felt that in less than an hour, he had walked back and forth between heaven and hell. Just when everyone was happy, he saw someone moving outside, trying to escape when no one was paying attention. Where do you think you're going? He appeared and blocked Qiuqi's path. Xianqiu, if you don't want to lose your life, don't be so flamboyant. Qiuqi looked at Xianqiu. If he attracted their attention, it would be hard for him to escape. Yue said that I must keep you here today. She paid such a huge price for this, so you must leave your life here today. Xianqiu said as he attacked. The commotion here immediately attracted the attention of others. Father, Yu said that we can't let him go. Little Lucky jumped onto Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior and pulled his hair. It's all because of him that Yu died. Kill him. Kill him. Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior stood up and thought about the scene of Sima Yue dying. It overlapped with the scene in his memory. Those who hurt her deserved to die. He grabbed Little Lucky and threw him aside. His body returned to his beast form and kept growing. His aura kept rising. Berserk. Not everyone present knew about it, but someone would tell them. This is a skill of spirit beasts. When they go berserk, they will lose their rationality. However, their battle power will increase by a lot, and can reach twice their usual strength. The president of the Beast Tamer Guild said, with his strength, if he goes berserk, Qiuqi will not be able to escape today. The result of the battle was not suspenseful. Qiuqi did not even last 30 moves under Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior. Wu Lingyu saw his soul. Before entering the ghost realm, he sucked his soul over and condensed a dark flame to refine his soul. In the end, he did not even have the chance to turn into ashes. Wu Lingyu carried Sima Yue and said to Feng Ruyan, "I'll send her back. The Sima family must be in a mess now. I'll go with you. There are some things that I need to tell them," Feng Ruyan said. Okay. Wu Lingyu carried Sima Yue. Feng Ruyan, Yinlin and Little Helper disappeared from their original spot. Those people did not even feel any movement. So powerful. Of course he's powerful. That's the Supreme Lord of the God Clan. Xiachong Tian said. Okay, let's settle the matters here first. Then let's go and see if there's anything we can help with. The Sima family. Just as Wu Lingyu said, after seeing Sima Yoyue's life tablet shatter, the whole family was shocked. How did she die? How could she die? Everyone could not sit still and requested to go and find her. But it would take a long time to reach Sacred City. Even if they rushed over, it would be too late. Just as the whole family was in grief and panic, Wu Lingyu carried Sima Yue back. Seeing the lifeless person in his arms, the Sima family's eyes turned red. Everyone covered their mouths, not daring to cry out loud. Lingyu Yueshi, she's still alive. Wu Lingyu's words made the Sima family quiet down. As long as she was alive, there was hope. What exactly is going on? Sima Jiyuan asked. Why did Yue's life tablet shatter? We'll talk about this later. We still have things to do now. Wu Lingyu said as he carried Sima Yue and flew towards the back mountain of the Sima family. Chapter 1745. Wu Lingyu carried Sima Yue to the back of the mountain. Sima Qing looked at him and asked, "What can we do?" "Prepare a large and spacious stone room. I'll talk about the rest later," Wu Lingyu said. "Let's use the stone room where I'm in seclusion. The spiritual energy there is the best," Sima Qing said. Wu Lingyu knew about his stone room. It was indeed the best place for the Sima family. He carried Sima Yue and flew towards the mountain. When Sima Jiyuan, Sima Xiuqi and the others arrived, they saw Sima Yue lying on the jade bed weakly. Wu Lingyu seemed to be arranging something around the jade bed. Yinlin and Feng Ruyan were giving pointers at the side. "Phoenix Master Lord Yinlin, how is Yue?" Huang Yingying asked. "It's still considered stable," Yinlin said. "However, we can't leave this place in the future. I'll personally guard it," Sima Qing said. In any case, this was where he cultivated, so he felt a little more at ease if he guarded her here. "How did Yue suffer such serious injuries?" Sima Hishun asked. "We don't know the specifics either. Someone will explain it to you later," Yinlin said. "Can Yue get better? When will she wake up?" "She won't wake up for the time being." Yinlin told them about her soul leaving her body and said, "What you need to do is to protect her physical body. Make sure that her physical body is in good condition before her soul returns. Don't let it continue to deteriorate." "What do we need to do?" Sima Hishun asked. This jade bed was dug out from the bottom of the ice field. Only one like this can be found every tens of thousands of years. The cold air and spiritual energy on it will protect her body. The array that Wu Lingyu had set up now could attract the surrounding spiritual energy, which would also be beneficial to her body. In addition, give her this pill once every half a month. Yinlin took out a pill formula and handed it to Sima Hishun. Sima Hishun looked at the herbs on the list. They weren't considered expensive, but they were all very rare. It wouldn't be a problem for a short period of time, but if it took a long time, it would be difficult to find them. You don't have to worry about the herbs. As long as you spread the news, There will naturally be people who will send the herbs over. Lin said. You don't have to worry about that. All right. I'll have someone send the herbs over, Wu Lingyu said. This was the first thing he said after everyone arrived. Where are you going? Feng Ruyan asked. Let's go back to the Devil Realm and settle the important matters. Then, we'll go to the Ghost Realm to look for her. Wu Lingyu said. If you go to the Ghost Realm like this, you won't be able to find her. Lin said. Then what should we do? Lin closed his eyes and calculated. After a while, he opened his eyes and said, We meet again at the banks of the River of Forgetfulness. But as you know, only souls can go to the River of Forgetfulness. If you want to go to the Ghost Realm, you can only go with your soul. However, if you forcefully extract your soul, your strength will also be damaged. I understand. Thank you for telling me, Wu Lingyu said gratefully. You don't have to thank me. I'm very happy that the last lot is between you and her. Lin smiled. Last lot. This body of mine, it's all thanks to Yue that I'm able to hold on until now. Now, I'm already at the end of my life and don't have much time left. I won't be telling anyone else's fortune in the future. So this is my last fortune. Lin's words made the atmosphere in the stone room heavy, but he didn't care about it. Everyone dies, there's nothing to be sad about. Lin said. Master. Little Helper pursed his lips. We'll go to the Ghost Realm to look for you. Divinator doesn't have a soul after he dies. He can't return, and can't go to the Ghost Realm. When he dies, his soul disperses. You don't have to worry about him anymore. Lin smiled. Feng Master, we can go back now. Divinator Sect Master had always wanted to pass away in the sect. Relying on him and Little Helper, they couldn't rush back. Feng Ruyan nodded and told Sima Jiyuan and the others to look for the Feng people. Then she left with Lin and Little Helper. In the future, I'll need the Sima family to take care of divination and Little Helper. Lin's voice disappeared along with his figure. This sentence became the last sentence he said to outsiders. I didn't expect Master Lin. Sigh. Feng Ruyan sent Lin and Little Helper back to the divination and left. Little Helper looked at Lin's thin figure and said, Master, shouldn't you have 100 years of life left? Why? He also noticed that Lin's life was decreasing rapidly. In just a few years, he had used up 100 years of his life. Come with me. Lin brought Little Helper to the divination's forbidden area. Behind the short tunnel was a huge stone room. Inside, the memorial tablets of the past sect masters were enshrined. Lin came in front of the memorial tablets and said, Little Helper, kneel down. Kowtow to the past sect masters. Little Helper came to the praying mat and knelt down. He kowtowed 3 times. Little Helper, your talent far surpasses mine. In the future, your achievements will definitely surpass mine. When you met Sima Yue when you were young, your fate changed. In the future, you won't follow in the footsteps of your master and the past sect masters. You must cherish the gift given to you by the heavens. You must benefit more people. This disciple will remember Master's teachings. Little Helper replied. Today, I will pass the position of sect master to you. You must take on the responsibility of divination. Protect the people of the sect. You must shoulder the heavy responsibility and cannot slack off. Do you understand, Master? Little Helper didn't expect Lin to pass the position of sect master to him. He was still so inexperienced. How could he convince the others? They all understand. Lin wasn't worried. As divinators, they knew that they had no fate with the position of sect master. Master, you still have a long time. You don't have to. Whatever Master says, just accept it. Lin's voice became strict. Yes, Master. I am willing to become the sect master of divination. I will protect the people of the sect and benefit mankind. Little Helper had a bad premonition. His tears couldn't stop falling. Lin took off the ring that symbolized the position of sect master and gave it to Little Helper. Then he went to the high platform in the middle of the stone room and sat down. Master. Little Helper knelt down and held onto the high platform. He cried his eyes out. He knew this stone platform. The sect masters breathed their last on this platform. Yinlin wanted to go up now. Didn't that mean that he was already? Yinlin looked at him and sighed. How can Master be at ease when you are like this? Master, what about your lifespan? You still have so much time. You don't have to go up so quickly. You will understand in a while. In the future, you must be well. Yinlin reached out and patted little helper's head. Then he retracted his hand and placed his hands on his knees. He slowly closed his eyes and stopped breathing. Master! Little helper pounced onto the stone platform and hugged Yinlin's body as he cried loudly. The moment he hugged Yinlin's body, a white light shot out from Yinlin's body and entered little helper's body. Chapter 1746. After the silver light entered little helper's body, he immediately sensed it. He was stunned for a moment before crying even harder. In addition to the grief and reluctance from before, there was also a trace of self-blame in the crying. This is Sect Master. Sovereign, why are you leaving just like that? Sect Master. A group of people came in from outside. When they saw Yinlang sitting on the stone platform, they all ran over and knelt down. The stone room was filled with the cries of everyone. Inform everyone that the sect master has passed away. Great Elder said. Immediately, someone left the stone room. Everyone cried for a while, venting some of the grief in their hearts. The Great Elder looked at the child who was crying uncontrollably and asked, shouldn't the sect master still have a few more years to live? Why did he suddenly leave? The child cried even harder. He couldn't even finish a complete sentence. Master. Master did it because of me, because of me. How could this be? Everyone was shocked. They didn't have any premonition that something had happened to little Tong. Master divined that I would face a great calamity, so he used the rest of his lifespan to change my fate. After saying this, the child lay on Yinlin's lap, crying so hard that he was about to twitch. Yue, whom he liked, had become a zombie. She had just returned, and her master had died. Moreover, he had died for the sake of changing his fate. At this moment he didn't know how to describe his heart. He only felt pain, pain. The first elder and the others were stunned when they heard this. They didn't expect that Yinlin would actually give up his life to change the child's fate. But what could they do? Was he going to blame Xiaotong? No, this was Yinlin's own decision. Seeing the thumb ring on his hand, he said, the sect master has passed the thumb ring to you. You are the new sect master of divination. You have to pull yourself together to be worthy of your master's sacrifice. Xiaotong nodded. We will support you in the future. Now you have to pull yourself together and take care of the sect master's funeral. I understand, Grand Elder. The child came down from the stone platform and wiped away the tears on his face. Just as he wiped away the tears on the left side, the tears on the right side flowed out again. When the Great Elder and the others saw him like this, they patted him on the shoulder. You stay here and accompany the sect leader first. We'll go out and take care of other things. Thank you, Grand Elder. The child said gratefully. With his current state of mind, it was really not suitable for him to go out and face everyone. Great Elder and the others all went out. Little Helper looked at Yinlin's sleeping face, and tears once again flowed out of his eyes. Master. Very quickly, the news of Yinlin's death spread throughout the entire continent. The people in the interior were all shocked. She was fine when she was in the holy city. How could she have passed away in just a few days? No matter what the reason was, everyone felt that Yinlin's death was a great loss to humanity. However, when they found out that Xiaotong's talent was even better than Yinlin's, hope was ignited in everyone's heart. There was an endless stream of people going to the divination center to offer their condolences. However, no one could enter the door of divination because Yinlin had already been laid to rest and should not be disturbed. After entertaining the guests for a while, they all left their gifts and went back. When the Sima family received the news, they were entertaining Xiaochang Tian and the others. From Xiaochang Tian and the others, they finally found out what happened to Sima Yue that day. After finding out that Yinlin and the others had saved the dead Sima Yue, and then hearing the news of his death, They remembered that the divination he had done for Sima Yue and Wu Lingyu in the stone room was his last one. They were deeply moved. Get someone to prepare a generous gift. We will go and offer our condolences personally. Sima Zhiyuan said. We will go with you. Xia Changtian said. They came here to tell the Sima clan about what happened that day. Another reason was to see if there was anything they could do. Now that they had obtained the pill formula, they would have to bear the main responsibility of searching for the medicinal ingredients. Very quickly, they went to the divination center together, and became the only ones who were invited through the door. Pain. A ray of light finally shot through the endless darkness, as if the clear stream that day had cut through the chaos, and the heavens and earth were clear. Pain? Wasn't she dead? How could she still feel pain? Her consciousness slowly returned, and her body's senses slowly recovered. Finally, her eyes that had been closed for a long time slowly opened. It was still darkness. Where am I? Ghost realm? She remembered what happened that day in Saint City. Her body still exploded, and before her consciousness completely disappeared, she seemed to have seen Wu Lingyu? Could it be that he saved her? How could it be? My body exploded. I was already dead when he appeared. How could he save me? She mocked herself, but then she was stunned. She died, and her soul would enter the ghost realm. But this kind of soul had no memories, and everything would start from scratch. But why did she remember what happened when she was alive? She moved her hand and waved it in front of her. It was indeed transparent, and this was really her soul. But why did it preserve her memories? You're finally awake. A voice rang in her ear and she sat up in shock. Hiss, because she used too much strength, she felt her entire soul was in pain. Your soul was injured in the explosion. Although you've recuperated for 2 years, it's still not very stable. That voice rang again. It's you. Sima Yue remembered this voice, a voice that she had only heard once, but would never forget. She looked at the dark surroundings and asked, I'm in the Yilin continent. You still remember me? Yes, you're the person suppressed under Dragon Reflection Mountain, right? You're the one who saved me? Yes and no, that voice replied. If you hadn't consumed the essence of the Tree of Souls beforehand, your soul would have already dissipated when your body exploded. I've only nurtured your soul for 2 years. 2 years? It's already been 2 years? She muttered. I wonder what they'll do when they know about my death. She stood up and bowed towards the direction of the voice, and said gratefully, Thank you for saving my life. How should I address you? You can just call me Ancestor. Ancestor? Are you my ancestor? Sima Yue asked curiously. She had always felt that when she was under Dragon Reflection Mountain, although she didn't see clearly who was in the black fog, she felt that he was somewhat familiar. But the words he said to her back then were somewhat strange, and made her guess that there was a connection between them. Yes, Ancestor replied. Ancestor, when you saw my body explode, am I already dead? Why can I still remember what happened when I was alive? Sima Yue asked. Your body was originally dead, but it was saved by someone who changed your fate. Now you're still hanging on by a breath, so you're not really dead. Naturally, you're not a pure ghost, and can only be considered as a soul that has left your body, so you can naturally remember what happened when you were alive. Then how did I get here? Chapter 1747. How did you get here? Of course, I was the one who brought you here, the ancestor said. You brought me here? How is this possible? She whispered. You were suppressed here and your strength was sealed. How could you know that I was in trouble and bring my soul here? The black fog that shrouded her body slowly dissipated, and only then did she see clearly that she was standing where she had been standing all those years ago. As for her ancestor, he was still shrouded in the black fog, so she couldn't see his face clearly. When you came here, I did something to your body. You have ghost chi in your body to begin with, so you naturally wouldn't be able to discover my clone, said the patriarch. Could it be that you already knew back then that I would face this calamity today? Sima Yue could not hide the astonishment in her heart. If that was really the case, how powerful was he to be able to foresee this so early? The old ancestor was silent and didn't reply. If he couldn't even calculate such a small matter, then wouldn't he have lived for so many years in vain? Ancestor, are you really my ancestor? Is it the Ghost Clan's royal family? Sima Yue asked again. Why didn't the Ghost King send anyone to save you? The royal family of the Ghost Clan. The ancestor's voice was filled with contempt. He did not care about the Ghost Clan's royal family at all. The true king of the Ghost Clan is not chosen by those people, but born with the bloodline. At the foot of the 9th underworld mountain, the black lotus blooms. No one in the 3 regions of the ghost realm dares to disobey. Sima Yue's heart jolted as she recalled Zhu Maoyan on her back. At the foot of the 9th underworld mountain, the black lotus blooms. No one in the 3 regions of the ghost realm dares to disobey. She repeated this sentence as if she saw the scene of all living beings submitting to her. That's right. The real royal family was the 9 underworlds tribe at the foot of the 9 underworlds mountain. We have existed since the formation of the world, and we are truly on par with the heavens. The ancestors' words carried an innate arrogance, which belonged to the noble bloodline of the Black Lotus clan. Then why are you being suppressed here? Who was it that suppressed you here? Although the 9 Nether clan is powerful, there are very few people who have the talent and bloodline of their ancestors. The 9 Nether clan is slowly declining. Later on, they chose to live in seclusion, and the ghost race elected a ghost king. Later on, very few people knew about us. However, our bloodline is still the noblest, and we can suppress all the ghosts. The patriarch's words were a little lonely. However, our bloodline is still the most noble, and we can suppress all the ghosts. The 9 underworlds tribe. Sima Yue murmured. Her heart was filled with pride. She suddenly wanted to take a look at the 9 underworlds mountain. As a descendant of the 9 underworlds clan, you will naturally know the glory of our clan in the future. The glory of our clan in the future will be created by you, said the old ancestor. Patriarch. The 9th Nether clan has been silent for too long. It's time for us to come out, the ancestor said. After you reach the ghost realm, you will be the clan leader of the 9th Nether clan. You have to lead your clansmen to glory again, drive out all those arrogant fellows, and let them know who is the real king of the ghost realm. Sima Yue's lips twitched. Although his words were bold, it seemed a little unrealistic. Patriarch, I don't have any strength now, she reminded. And I have to return to my body. I can't go to the ghost realm. Now that she had been delayed for 2 years, those people must be worried sick. She had to go back as soon as possible. Your soul has already left your physical body. You can't go back. The ancestor poured cold water on her. You can only go to the ghost realm now. What? How is that possible? Sima Yue was shocked. If she couldn't go back, then wouldn't she never see her family and friends in the human world again? Your soul is too weak. You can't go back to your physical body. Unless you can cultivate to the level of Ghost King. Then your soul can guarantee that it won't dissipate when it enters your body. The ancestor said. So, you only have one path now, which is to go to the ghost realm and become a ghost cultivator. Don't you still want to go to the ghost realm to save your mother? Are you thinking of giving up? It's not that I want to give up, but in my current state, I don't even have the strength to truss a chicken. If I go to the ghost realm, I'm afraid I won't live for more than 2 days. Sima Yue was helpless. I want to save my mother, but in my current state, I don't know how long it will take. If she returned to her physical body, she would still have her own strength. But now she had nothing except for her soul. If she had to cultivate from the beginning, by the time she had the strength to save her mother, it would be too late. You don't have to worry about this. You won't die so easily, the ancestor said. Sima Yue. She sighed. Since she didn't have a choice, what else could she do? She could only bite the bullet and walk on. Everything has its own plan, the ancestor said. So you don't have to worry, and there's nothing to be troubled about. Yes, Yue understands, Sima Yue replied. The storm is coming. We don't have much time left. The ancestor sighed. Ancestor. Sima Yue didn't know why he suddenly sighed. Is there anything I can do for you? I do have something for you to do now. The ancestor said. Come to my side. Sima Yue walked over. The black fog slowly shrunk. She then realized that there was a black array on the ground. Stand in the southwest direction, the ancestor said. Sima Yue hesitated for a second before walking over. If he wanted to do something bad to her, he wouldn't have to spend 2 years to save her. Ancestor, maybe I can think of a way to break this array, she said. No need. Just do as I say, the ancestor said. Sima Yue pursed her lips and stood according to his instructions. Then, she felt her surroundings become blurry. She seemed to be in an empty space, and a warm current enveloped her. Then there seemed to be some kind of power drilling into her body. Ancestor, she called out in a panic. Just accept it. The ancestor's voice rang out around her, calming her flustered heart down quite a bit. Ancestor, what are you doing? Yue, remember this. There are only 2 kinds of powerful forces in this world. One is the power of faith that destroyed you, and the other is the power of the netherworld that I am giving you. When these 2 forces are combined, it will be a force that can destroy the world, the ancestor said, and the power of the netherworld is something that we, the Jiuyou clan, have a natural advantage over. Ancestor, are you giving me your power of the netherworld? No, I can save you. No, it's useless. From the moment I stepped into this place, I have no chance of leaving. I have been waiting for you to appear. I have been waiting for this moment. Why? Everything is predestined in the unseen world. There are some things that only you can do, and are waiting for you to do them. Remember what I said to you before. Sima Yue's consciousness was slowly dissipating, but she remembered that the ancestor said a lot of things to her. When she completely fell into darkness, she felt that her body was about to explode. Chapter 1748. Male. When she woke up again, she was no longer in the cave. Recalling what had happened before she fainted, a trace of sadness flashed through her eyes. Patriarch, she closed her eyes, remembering what he had done and said to her. Patriarch, don't worry. I won't disappoint you. She clenched her fists. Her heart ached when she thought of the scene where the ancestor had poured all of his power into her body and dissipated. I've given you all of my power, but your soul power is still too weak. You can't bear it. That's why I sealed it. When your power grows, it will naturally be unsealed. Also, I'll condense a body for you. Others won't be able to tell that you're a soul for now, and you won't be summoned by the ghost clan. When you have cultivated your own body in the future, you can return to your body. The patriarch's words were injected into her mind when she was in a state of confusion. She woke up a little in the middle, but what she saw was that all the black fog was injected into her body, and the patriarch disappeared. Patriarch, creak. The door was pushed open and 2 maidservants entered. When they saw Sima Yue, they quickly knelt down and said, Young miss, you're finally awake. Sima Yue looked at the 2 maidservants in confusion. Who are you? Miss, this servant is Tingshan Tingshui. Don't you remember me? Tingshan Tingshui. Sima Yue's lips twitched. Such elegant names did not match the 2 ghastly people on the ground. Miss, don't you remember us? The 2 maidservants looked at Sima Yue cautiously, as if they were afraid that she would suddenly hit them. Where is this? Why are you calling me miss? As she spoke, she looked around. It was an extremely luxurious room. The walls were hung with paintings pieced together with various spirit stones. The furnishings were also all kinds of expensive things. It was obvious that the person who lived in this room was someone who knew how to enjoy life. Miss, this is your boudoir. Don't you remember? Tingshan said in surprise. Then she said to Tingshui, Quickly go and report to master that Miss is awake. Tingshui ran out and soon came in with a group of people. The leader was a young man with a full beard, followed by a group of women. When the man saw Sima Yue, he excitedly ran over and hugged her, howling, My daughter! Daughter, you're finally awake. Father was worried to death. Sima Yue smelled a faint fragrance on his body. He was not as sloppy as he looked. Being hugged tightly, she felt as if she couldn't breathe, but she recalled a scene. It was when he had just arrived in the ghost realm. He was in a daze and didn't know where he was. Then, he found that there were many underworld beasts surrounding a veiled woman. The woman angrily used the nether artifact to kill those nether beasts, and then said something about wanting to kill her. Then what happened after that? It seemed like a group of people had come and surrounded her and that woman. They fled together, but in the end, she still used up her underworld artifact and was heavily injured by those people. Then she and the woman fell off the cliff together. At that time, she also scolded. She encountered these as soon as she arrived in the ghost realm. She really is a person who can't live for more than 2 days. Because she hadn't digested the old ancestors' spiritual power, her consciousness had been a little unclear. She didn't expect that she would wake up completely here. Daughter, it's all because father didn't protect you well, and let you suffer such heavy injuries. I've killed those who chased you so you can rest assured. The man cried and howled, but it made Sima Yue guess that she had been mistaken for that woman. She struggled out of the man's arms and said, "You're mistaken. I'm not your daughter." "How is that possible? How could father recognize the wrong person?" "It's true. Although I'm very grateful to you for saving my life, I don't know you. I'm not your daughter." She didn't want to deceive others. After the man heard her words, he held her face and looked at it. He then grabbed her hand and checked it. Then he said with certainty, "It's still like this. There's still only a little bit of spiritual power. If you're not my daughter, who are you?" "Daughter, I heard from the doctor that you injured your brain when you fell off the cliff. It's very likely that you'll lose your memory. Could it be that you've lost your memory? Don't you remember father?" Sima Yue pursed her lips. She remembered that the woman had always been using a one-time use underworld weapon. It was very powerful but did not require much spiritual power. Could it be that she couldn't cultivate? "I just happened to fall off the cliff with your daughter." "You're mistaken." "Impossible. You're my daughter." "Doctor, quickly take a look at my daughter and see if she's all right." "Master, young miss might have temporarily lost her memory. You don't have to worry." Ying and Yin Yin comforted him. An old man stepped forward and grabbed Sima Yu's hand to examine it. Then he looked at her eyes and so on. After that he said to the man, "Master, eldest young miss has indeed suffered from amnesia. She can't remember the past." Sima Yue rolled her eyes. Although she was injured, her brain was still fine. How could she have amnesia? What a quack! However, the man trusted him and asked, "Then when will she recover?" "This depends on young Mrs. recovery." The doctor was not sure. Sima Yue resisted the urge to kick the man. "I won't have those memories for the rest of my life. It's okay, it's okay. It's okay if your memory is gone. It's okay as long as you're fine." The man hugged her again and patted her back to comfort her. Sima Yue was speechless. Therefore, she inexplicably became this man's daughter. She became the only daughter of the Eternal Brilliant City's city lord, a woman who was notorious for being arrogant and despotic. Sima Yue stood in the courtyard and looked at the forever gray sky. She missed the blue sky and white clouds of the human world. Sigh. She sighed for the umpteenth time, but her heart was stuffed. Ting Shan and Ting Shui were not far behind her. They sighed again when they saw her. They looked at each other with disbelief and helplessness in their eyes. Ever since young miss lost her memory, she changed completely. She no longer beat and scolded them. She only sighed all day long. The number of times she sighed in the past 2 days was more than before. Moreover, she always said that she was not young Mississippi. She did not call old master father and did not stick to him anymore. She had become so strange. Sima Yue was lying on the rocking chair. She was ordered to rest in bed for the past 2 days. She finally felt better today. She strongly requested to take a walk in the courtyard. However, she was pressed on the reclining chair by the 2 maids and could not get down. There was always someone following her. She did not have the ability to check the situation in the spirit pagoda for the past 2 days. She did not know how the beasts were doing after the robbery. She could not sense their situation and was very anxious. Ah! She was shocked by the face that suddenly appeared in front of her. She subconsciously slapped him. Chapter 1749. Pa! The crisp sound stunned everyone present, especially the owner of that perfect face. Sheer, you actually hit me. Junyan looked aggrieved. You used to be reluctant to let me lose a single strand of hair. Sima Yue. Seeing the red palm print on his face, she smiled and asked, Who are you? The man's expression froze as he stared at Sima Yue in disbelief. Sheer, you don't know who I am? Have you forgotten about me? Woo-woo. How could you forget about me? Sima Yue pursed her lips. She really didn't want to bother with this kind of person who was so handsome that he could drop to the ground. She turned to look at Ting Shan. After 2 days of interaction, Ting Shan had more or less understood her intentions. She stepped forward and bowed, saying, Young miss, this is young Master Gongzi, your former good friend. Young master? Damn, it can't be, Sheer, you really don't remember me? I heard that you lost your memory, so I specially came to see you. You really don't remember me. Gongzi Yuan cried out aggrievedly and rushed over, wanting to hug her. Sima Yue kicked him in the stomach and stopped him, saying, You've got the wrong person. I'm not your she. Not she. If you have amnesia, then so be it. Why do you have to deny yourself? Gongzi Yuan sat on a stool and looked at her unhappily. I'm really not Morong Shi. Sima Yue repeated for the umpteenth time. Aren't you her fox friend, good friend? Then you should know that I'm different from her. You look exactly the same, and you're also a piece of trash. Who else could it be if not you? Gongzi Yuan said, Don't worry. Although you lost your memory, I won't despise you. I'll definitely bring you along when we go out to play. Sima Yue rolled her eyes at him. She did not want to bother with this idiot. She stood up and walked towards her room. Suddenly, she felt that someone was looking at her. Turning her head, she saw a man in a thin red robe looking at her at the entrance of the courtyard. Who? When the man heard her scolding, he was so scared that his whole body trembled. He quickly knelt down and said, Young miss, please spare my life. I just heard that you were injured and wanted to see how you were doing. Slave. Sima Yue frowned when she heard how he addressed himself. When she saw his faintly discernible body, she immediately understood his identity. She rubbed the corner of her eyes and said, Ting Shan, send him back. After saying that, she pushed the door open and went back into the house. Gongzi Yuan looked at her in disbelief. He followed her into the house and said, You don't even want your noodles? It can't be. Your eyes were always shining when you saw them. Could it be that amnesia has changed your personality as well? I'll tell you one more time, I'm not Morong Shi. She gritted her teeth and emphasized. This Morong Shi, the young miss of eternal brilliant city, not only was she arrogant and despotic, she was also lustful and infatuated. She had snatched many handsome men back and locked them all in the backyard, saying that she wanted to have 3,000 handsome men. Although those who were snatched resisted, no one dared to provoke her father, Morong Hui. Those who went to seek justice were all dealt with by him. Later, everyone could only hide from her, and did not dare to openly resist. Even so, there were hundreds of handsome men locked in her backyard. Everyone was wearing this kind of transparent red shirt. Now that she was treated as Morong Shi, the debts of these handsome men were also counted on her. Gongzi Yuan looked at Sima Yue and sized her up a few times. He touched his chin and said, You really don't look like her. If you weren't such a waste, I would really believe it. Sima Yue rolled her eyes. She was treated as that woman every day by these people and did not listen to her explanation. She was also too lazy to say anything more. You said I'm her, right? Well, I'll just treat myself as her. After saying that, she left the room and looked at Ting Shan and Ting Shui who were guarding the door and said, Take me to Hibiscus Court. Ting Shan and Ting Shui were stunned. Then they lowered their heads and led the way. They thought that she had really changed her temperament. Now that she saw a gigolo, she wanted to find them for pleasure again. Sima Yue followed Ting Shan and Ting Shui to Hibiscus Court. The people who lived there were originally chatting leisurely, but when they saw her, they suddenly froze. Some people couldn't help but tremble, and didn't even dare to look at her. Some people looked at her angrily. Sheer, your injury hasn't healed yet. Don't go overboard. Gongzi Yuan was really concerned about her body, but these words were a bit ambiguous at this time. None of your business. Sima Yue ignored him and said to Ting Shan and Ting Shui, "Go call everyone out for me." Ting Shan and Ting Shui immediately went to do it. Her appearance made them feel as if they saw her in the past. They just didn't know what tricks she was going to play this time. Sima Yue climbed up the rockery and let those people stand under the rockery. Soon, there were hundreds of people standing in the courtyard. They were all wearing transparent red robes. Her face and ears turned red as she thought that Morongxi really knew how to play. "Miss, everyone is here." Ting Shan came to the rockery and replied. Sima Yue put her hands on her knees and glanced at the faces below one by one. She sighed and said, "They are really all handsome men. What do you want to do this time?" A voice questioned. Last time when she gathered all of them, she took 10 men away, but none of them came back. She didn't know what she was going to do now. "I don't plan to do anything." Sima Yue curled her lips. "Today, I'm here to tell you that you are free. You can change your clothes and leave." "What? What tricks do you want to play this time?" When she said this, no one moved. Instead, they looked at her with more suspicion and vigilance. They were afraid that this was her new game. "I said that you are free," Sima Yue said. "Ting Shan, give each of them 1,000 top-grade crystals and send them all out." "Sure, are you really going to let them go?" Gongzi Yuan jumped on the rockery and stood beside her as if he wanted to see through her. Sima Yue slapped his head to the side. "I said that I am not Morongxi, but you all want me to be her. Then I should have the right to deal with these people, right? Ting Shan, am I right?" "Mrs. Right. This servant will send them all out," Ting Shan said. "That's right." Sima Yue felt that Gongzi Yuan was an eyesore and kicked him down the rockery. She then looked at the hesitating men below and waved her hand impatiently. Go, don't be an eyesore here." "You said that you are not Morongxi? Then who are you?" a man asked. "Yue," Sima Yue said and jumped down from the rockery. She didn't care about those people and left the courtyard. Gongzi Yuan followed her, and his probing gaze never left her. Chapter 1750. The two of them returned to her temporary residence in silence. "Now I really believe that you're not her," he finally said to Sima Yue when they returned to the house. Even if she had lost her memories, it was impossible for a person's personality to change so thoroughly. Therefore, he believed that she really wasn't Morongxi. "Since you already know that I'm not, then stop bothering me." Sima Yue wanted to shut him out of the room, but he held the door with both hands and refused to let her close it. "Although you are not Shi'er, I still want to talk to you." Gongzi Yuan leaned against the door and looked at her with a solemn expression. Sima Yue stared at him for a while, then stepped back to let him into the house. "You want to know about Morongxi?" she asked. "That's right. I also want to know. How did you appear here?" Where is she? Gongzi Yuan asked. "I don't know either." Sima Yue shrugged. "I just came to the world of spirits and souls and met her in a daze. She was being chased and we fell off the cliff together. I was already here when I woke up." That's it. Sima Yue said. "I told Mu Chu that I wasn't, but he didn't believe me and insisted that I had lost my memory." "That's strange." Gongzi Yuan frowned. "If I can tell that you're fake, it's impossible that Uncle Jian can't. After all, the difference between before and after is too great. So he must have a motive," Sima Yue said. "You don't seem to care at all." Gongzi Yuan stared at her, trying to find something strange on her face, but there was nothing. "Care? It's not up to me to decide whether I care or not," Sima Yue said. "I don't have the ability to resist, right? You are very smart." Gongzi Yuan had a whole new level of respect for her. He thought that she was greedy for Morongxi's position. That's not right either. If that was the case, she would definitely say that she was Morongxi instead of denying her identity. "You want Uncle Jian to talk to you?" Gongzi Yuan asked in surprise. "No, I'm just recuperating here," Sima Yue said. "Isn't Morongxi your good friend? Then why aren't you looking for her?" "Uncle Jian will definitely send someone," Gongzi Yuan said. "If he can't find it, it's useless for me to go." Sima Yue glanced at him. "You're such a rational friend. I'm not doing useless work. Gongzi Yuan said, I'm going back. I'll see you later. Sima Yue wanted to tell him that they were not close and that he did not need to visit her, but he had already left the courtyard. She looked at his somewhat dispirited back and thought to herself that this guy was actually very upset. She sighed and closed the door. The matter of driving away all the gigolos quickly spread throughout the city lord mansion, and the housekeeper went to Morong Hui's study. Master, she let all those men go, the butler said. Morong Hui rubbed the box in his hand and asked in a hoarse voice, Where is she? She went back to the courtyard. In addition, Gongzi Yuan has already gone back. Looking at him, he seems to believe her words. The butler said, Master, should we do something? No need. I'll go talk to her. Morong Hui took the box and went to Sima Yue's courtyard. Sima Yue was not surprised to see him. Please sit down. She was making tea and did not look at him after saying that. Morong Hui stood in the same place, watching her quietly make tea, and said, She will not sit so quietly in the future. She's always in a hurry and can't stop. He said this to admit that she was not Morong Shi. You really know. Sima Yue made the tea and put it on the opposite side, looking at Morong Hui. My daughter, of course I know. She will never be as elegant as you. Morong Hui walked over, picked up the teacup and took a sip. She will never be able to make such delicious tea. Sima Yue poured herself a cup and said, Can I know why? Morong Hui put the box on the table and opened it. Sima Yue saw the broken life card inside. This is your daughter's life card? Yes. It was broken before I found you. Morong Hui put the box away. But she is my baby. How can I let her body wander outside? So I took people to find her and met you in a coma beside her body. If it wasn't for my daughter's broken life card, I would have thought that she was alive. Unfortunately. My condolences. Sima Yue looked at his painful expression, pursed her lips and comforted him. When I saw your appearance, I immediately decided to bring you back. Those people wanted to kill my daughter, but I haven't found out who they are. If they know that she is not dead, maybe they will do it again. Then I can find out who is behind it. Morong Hui explained. So that's how it is. Sima Yue felt strange. Even if she and Morong Shi looked alike, it was not to the extent that they could not recognize their relatives. It turned out that they already knew. You want me to lead the people behind it out? Although it is dangerous to do so, I can give you the status of Shi'er. As long as you are willing, you will be the young miss of Eternal Brilliant City. Mu Chua Dada, Sima Yue turned the teacup with both hands, thinking quickly in her mind. She had just arrived in the ghost realm and had no strength. She did not know anything else. It was good to have a stable place in this situation. As for the danger in it, if you want to gain something, you have to pay a price, right? The most important thing was that if she did not agree, she thought that Morong Hui would not let her walk out of the city lord mansion alive. Okay, I promise. Father, try the tea made by your daughter. Sima Yue smiled and filled some tea for Morong Hui. Good daughter, your cooking is really good. Thank you for your praise, father. The two began to call each other father and daughter. The two of them got along as if they were really father and daughter. Sima Yue did not say that she was not Morong Shi anymore. Because her body was injured, Morong Hui sent her a lot of medicinal pills and tonics. She ate the medicinal pills and put away the tonics. These tonics were useful for the body. She was now in a soul state, so eating them was useless. When her body was better, she drove Ting Shan and Ting Shui away, and then after confirming that there was no one nearby, she flashed into the spirit pagoda. The spirit pagoda had suffered a heavy blow this time, and it had degenerated beyond recognition. The previous blue sky and white clouds had disappeared, and the sky was gray, just like the sky of the ghost realm. She called out to Little Spirit twice, but Little Spirit did not respond. She then went to look at the spirit beasts. Other than Little Roar and Thousand Resonance who were in the contract space within her body, the other spirit beasts were all here, and had all fallen into a deep sleep. Chapter 1751. Little 7? Yaguang? Little Rock? Chongming? Goldie? Huahua? Little Meng? She went up to stroke the sleeping spirit beasts one by one, blaming herself in her heart. If it wasn't for her, they wouldn't have ended up like this. How can I wake you up? She caressed Yaguang's hair, which had lost its luster. She felt so uncomfortable that she wanted to cry. But because she was a soul, even crying had become a luxury. Woof woof woof. Little Black's cry woke her up from her sadness. Seeing Little Black acting cute like a puppy, she was so excited for the first time. She cried and laughed. Little Black, you're all right. I'm so glad. She hugged Little Black and buried her head in its fur. Woof woof woof. Little Hay barked twice. Sima Yue understood what it meant and laughed out loud. She stroked its dark fur and said, Black looks good too. Woof woof woof. She wanted a white one. I like that too. Besides, you are black to begin with. Sima Yue comforted her. Useless. You only know how to bark like a dog. Mi-er's voice came from the side. Sima Yue looked over in surprise and saw him walking over with a look of disdain. Mi-er, you're okay too? Sima Yue went forward to hug him. I'm so glad that you're okay. Otherwise, I thought I would become a loner. I'm not a normal spirit beast. As long as you're not dead, I won't be harmed. Mi-er said proudly. Sima Yue ruffled his hair. That's great. If only they could wake up. You don't have to worry too much. They're just sleeping. Before Little Spirit fell asleep, he said that because the spirit pagoda was contracted with your soul, it followed you here. But because your soul was also heavily injured, it fell into a deep slumber. However, it also said that as long as you can cultivate, the spirit pagoda will be able to absorb your energy and reopen. That's good. By the way, where are my father and the others? Sima Yue heaved a sigh of relief when she heard this. She remembered that Sima Luxian and Enlei were also here, but she didn't see them. Right now, the spirit pagoda is only this big, and the living area is not exposed at all. But your father and the others are doing well in the living area. When you reopen the spirit pagoda, they will come out. After I recover, I'll start researching how ghost cultivators cultivate. Sima Yue said. I'll go out first. If I'm discovered, I'll be in trouble. Woo woo. Sima Yue lowered her head. Little Black bit her skirt and refused to let her go. She squatted down and gently stroked its head, saying, I have to go out. Woof, woof woof. I want to go out too. Sima Yue thought that Little Hay looked like an ordinary dog now, so she carried it out. Not long after she came out, Ting Shan entered the courtyard and came to the front of the house to report. Miss, young master and young master are here. Gongzi Yuan? Why is he here again? Sima Yue carried Little Black out and saw Gongzi Yuan coming in. Why are you here? Sima Yue asked. I'm here to see how you've recovered. Gongzi Yuan said with a smile. Seeing Little Black in her arms, he frowned in disgust. Where did you get this little black dog? My contract beast. Sima Yue stroked Little Black's head, indicating that it shouldn't be angry. Your contract beast? It can't be. Why do you have such a contract beast? It doesn't have any spiritual power. Gongzi Yuan looked at her with some sympathy. He patted her shoulder and comforted her. It's okay, you're still stronger than she. She always wanted to have a contract beast, but she didn't get it. Although you're an ordinary dog, you're still a contract beast. Sima Yue's mouth twitched. She didn't know how the arrogant and despotic Morong, she became friends with Gongzi Yuan, this chatterbox. What are you doing here today? She took 2 deep breaths and didn't kick him out. I'm here to see if you've recovered. If you've recovered, come with me to see the youth exchange. Gongzi Yuan said. Youth exchange? What's that? It's a competition between the young guys in the city. Whoever wins will get a reward from the city lord's mansion. She and I used to go every time, so this time I'm here to ask if you want to go together. Gongzi Yuan explained. Youth exchange, we can go and see. But my father has to agree. Sima Yue said. She said to let him agree, but in fact, she was telling him to send someone to protect her. If he didn't agree, then she shouldn't go out. Who knows if someone was waiting to kill her in the dark. She originally thought that Murong Hui would disagree, but she didn't expect him to agree without hesitation. I'll send someone to protect you in the dark. If there's anything you need, just tell them directly. Muadada. Squinting eyes face email protected. Thank you, father. But I have to attend the competition, so I may not be able to take care of you. You have to pay attention to your safety and don't be alone, understand? Moronghui urged. I know. Sima Yue nodded. She didn't intend to joke with her life. But with me heir, those people couldn't hurt her. Moronghui saw that she didn't leave much and asked, what else do you need? Father, you have a suspect in your heart for the last incident, right? Can you tell me which forces it is? What is their relationship with Eternal Brilliant City? If I know, I won't be flustered when I meet them. Sima Yue said. I'll let the housekeeper sort out the information and give it to you. Moronghui glanced at the housekeeper and the housekeeper immediately left. Sima Yue went back with satisfaction. Soon, the housekeeper sent the information she needed. She didn't know why, but the information not only had a bad relationship with Moronghui, but also had a good relationship with him. There were also some who had a good relationship on the surface, but actually made them suspicious. After reading the information, she curled her lips and murmured, such a complicated relationship. No wonder I can't guess who the mastermind behind killing Moronghui is. It seems that my life is really a little bit dangerous. I still have to start cultivating. However, the old ancestor only passed the power of the netherworld into her body, and didn't teach her how to cultivate the power of the soul. Moreover, what she learned from Mou was only some spiritual skills, and there was no cultivation method. So, she was now like a student who had just started school and didn't know anything. Ghost cultivation, it's really a headache. It seems that these people all cultivate ghost energy. I don't know how to cultivate this soul body. After thinking about it, she still didn't ask the people around her. First, they were not soul bodies, and second, she didn't trust them. After thinking about it, she decided to go to the library to see if she could find a book about soul body cultivation. When Ting Shan heard that she was going to read, she only hesitated for a moment before taking her to the library. Chapter 1752. Standing outside the library, she raised her head to look at the 3 flamboyant words on the signboard. For a moment, she couldn't differentiate between reality and her memories. The book collection pavilion. The Sima family also had a book collection pavilion. The first time she stepped into the library, she was also a piece of trash, unable to cultivate. Now she had to start all over again. However, this time was different from before. She had the power bestowed upon her by the patriarch. As long as her soul cultivation increased, she would be able to unlock the seals layer by layer and truly receive the patriarch's power. Miss, you've never been to the library before. What kind of books do you want to read? Ting Shan reminded her when she saw her staring blankly at the plaque. Sima Yue regained her senses and asked, where are the books on cultivation methods? It's on the 2nd floor. The 1st floor is filled with books on various aspects. The 2nd floor is about cultivation, and the 3rd floor and above are all about spiritual techniques. Then I'll go to the 2nd floor. Just wait for me here. Sima Yue instructed Ting Shan. Ting Shan remembered Moronghui's order to treat Sima Yue like the previous miss, so she obediently stayed on the 1st floor. After Sima Yue went upstairs, she saw some books about cultivation on the bookshelves outside, but most of them were about ghost cultivation. At most, he had only mentioned 1 or 2 things about the cultivation of the soul body. Finally, she saw a thin and worn book on the shelf at the end. There's only such a shabby book. She took the book down and was a little disappointed. You are looking for the cultivation method of the soul body. An old voice sounded beside her, giving her a fright. Who? She looked around and felt breathing behind her. She quickly turned around and saw a short and small old man looking at her with his hands behind his back. Hello, you are. I'm just a cleaner, the little old man said. Do you want to study the cultivation method of the soul body? I'm just taking a look, Sima Yue said nonchalantly. Cultivating soul power is good, but it's a pity that good soul power cultivation methods are about to be lost. The little old man said. However, for a soul body like yours, you can only cultivate this now. Sima Yue was shocked. How did you know? That she was a soul? This little old man still has a discerning eye. The little old man said with a smile. Sima Yue was alarmed. She remembered that the patriarch had said that the body that he had helped her condense could not be seen as a soul body. However, this old man was able to discover it with just a glance. Just how strong was he? I wonder if me can handle him. The little old man saw that her expression had only changed slightly. He stroked his beard and said with a smile, "You don't have to worry. The little old man won't do anything to you." Then why did you expose me? I'm just curious. How did you materialize your physical body? From the looks of it, you haven't even started soul cultivation yet, have you? The little old man's smiling face made him seem more friendly to others. Before I came to the ghost realm, one of my patriarchs helped me condense my body. Sima Yue said. She said this to tell him that she also had a very powerful patriarch. Secondly, her patriarch was not from the ghost realm. You should not ask who he was. The little old man understood her meaning, and did not continue to ask. He walked to the innermost bookshelf and squatted down to rummage for a while. He took out a book and handed it to Sima Yue. This book is much better than the one in your hand. Sima Yue took the book. It was a thick book. Although the corners were missing, there were no missing words or pages. It was indeed much better than the one in her hand. Thank you. She smiled at him and said gratefully, "Soul cultivation is much harder than ghost cultivation. Young lady, the road ahead will be difficult." The little old man sighed and left the second floor. Sima Yue looked at his back and clenched the book in her hand. She naturally did not believe that he was a cleaner. He must be a very powerful senior in the Morong family. But why did he come out to expose her and find a book for her? Curiosity was not a valid reason. Anyway, if he really wanted to harm her, with me around, even if he could not turn the world upside down, it would not be a problem for him to leave. She put away the two books and turned to go downstairs to leave. Seeing Ting Shan standing outside the book collection pavilion, she asked, "Is there a skinny old man cleaning the book collection pavilion?" "A skinny old man? No. The library has always been cleaned by the maids," Ting Shan replied. "Oh. Let's go back." Sima Yue was not surprised. It seemed that her guess was right. Returning to the courtyard, she shut Ting Shan and Ting Shui outside, and said that she was going to cultivate in seclusion. No one was allowed to disturb her. If anyone came in, she would sell them to the brothel. She did not have spiritual power now, so she could not set up a barrier. She could only rely on external forces. Ting Shan and Ting Shui knew that Murong she had sold a maidservant before, and they heard that the maidservant's fate was very miserable. Now that they heard this, both of them were very alert and determined not to let any Tom, Dick, or Harry enter. So when Gongzi Yuan came, he was mercilessly stopped outside by the two. "Cultivate? Can she cultivate? Isn't she a waste like she?" Gongzi Yuan muttered and left. If Sima Yue knew, she would roll her eyes at him. Who said that she was a waste and could not cultivate? She hadn't even started to cultivate yet, alright. She first opened the old and thin book. There was no cultivation method in it. In the words of the little old man, it was not very useful. She roughly flipped through it. This book was just an introduction to soul cultivators. Soul cultivators referred to those who died in other realms, and their souls entered the ghost realm and started cultivating again. Soul cultivators were very weak at the beginning, so it was difficult to survive. Ghost cultivators referred to those ghost clans who cultivated ghost chi. When Sima Yue was alive, she was also considered a ghost cultivator. Ghost cultivators were much more powerful than soul cultivators, because ghost cultivators could contract underworld beasts and soul cultivators at the same time as ghost cultivators. In addition to using ghost chi in battle, they could also use soul power. Moreover, some ghost cultivators cultivated underworld techniques to suppress soul cultivators, and even control them as their slaves and subordinates. So there were fewer soul cultivators in the ghost realm. But once a soul cultivator grew up, they were very powerful and dominated a part of the world in the ghost realm. Because there were many powerful soul cultivators, ghost cultivators chose to strangle soul cultivators in the cradle. There were even fewer soul cultivators in these years. But there was one exception, and that was the soul realm. The old ancestor said that under the 9th underworld mountain, the black lotus bloomed, and no one dared to disobey the 3 realms of the ghost realm. These 3 realms referred to the ghost realm, soul realm, and hell. The soul realm was the realm where soul cultivators lived. It was as famous as the ghost realm and hell, which was enough to show its status and strength. Chapter 1753. Sima Yue squinted her eyes when she read about the infernal hell in the book. Her mother was suppressed in the abyss of hell. When would she be able to rescue her? His spirit pagoda was damaged, and he was unable to open the treasure vault. The 100 ghost gonfalon was still inside. If she couldn't get the 100 ghost gonfalon, she couldn't save him. He wondered how Deja was doing now. Should she look for him? The thought only flashed in her mind for a moment before it was dismissed. It was not the time to look for Deja yet. Without strength she couldn't do anything. Therefore, the most important thing now was to cultivate. When he was strong enough, he would look for him and save his mother together. She finished reading the first book and gained a general understanding of soul cultivators. Then he picked up the second book and started reading. At the beginning of the book, it was an introduction to soul cultivation. Later on, it talked about the methods of soul cultivation. Soul cultivation was much more complicated than ghost cultivation. In addition to cultivating soul power, one also had to cultivate the soul body. If his soul power was too strong and his soul body couldn't keep up, then he might not be able to withstand the soul power and explode. It was just like how the old ancestor had given her a powerful soul power, but she had no choice but to seal it because her soul body wasn't strong enough. Of course, if one cultivated slowly, one's body wouldn't explode. However, if one's soul couldn't be improved, one's soul power would be restricted and one's strength would be restricted. How troublesome. She put down the book and rubbed the space between her eyebrows. Even with the soul power given to me by the ancestor, I don't know when I'll be able to improve my soul body if I cultivate according to this method. The cultivation method of the soul body described in this book was not low grade, but it was still far from what Sima Yue wanted. Suddenly, she thought of something and slapped her forehead, saying, "Why are you so stupid? You clearly have the most powerful cultivation method in the world. What are you still thinking about?" Wasn't the soul refining art that Emo Sha had given her for cultivating the soul? Emo Sha's move, how could it be an ordinary cultivation method? Why didn't she think of that? She put down the book, sat down cross-legged on the bed, and began to cultivate according to the soul refining art. The cultivation of the soul body was divided into 5 stages: spirit condensation stage, spirit refinement stage, body condensation stage, body refinement stage, and body shaping stage. The first 4 stages were further divided into the early stage, middle stage, and late stage. When one reached the final stage, body sculpting, one would be able to cultivate a real body. Now that she was starting to cultivate again, the first thing she had to do was to enter the soul condensation realm, before she could start cultivating her soul power. As long as she could cultivate her soul power, she would be able to reopen the spirit pagoda. Little Spirit would also be able to wake up and provide spiritual power to the sleeping beasts. Fortunately, she had practiced the soul refining art before, so she was familiar with it. In just a few days, she entered the middle stage of the soul condensation stage. She had never come into contact with soul cultivators before, so she didn't know if her speed was considered fast. What she didn't know was that generally, it would take at least half a year for a soul cultivator to reach the soul condensation realm. It would take at most a few years for a soul cultivator to reach the soul condensation realm from the early stage to the middle stage. Her speed could no longer be described as heaven-defying. However, she also had an innate advantage. She had her memories and knew how to cultivate, but the other souls did not. Moreover, she had cultivated her soul before, so her soul was stronger than others. In addition, she had practiced the soul refining art before. With all kinds of reasons added together, her speed was naturally faster. She withdrew from her cultivation and felt her body. It was much more solid than before, and she had more strength. Coupled with her close combat skills, it wasn't impossible for her to fight with people with lower strength. She felt soul power in the air entering her body. She clearly didn't cultivate her soul power, so what was going on? She found that after the soul power entered her body, it stopped at the place where the spiritual pool used to be. This is soul power? She observed for a while, and found that although the soul power was very little, it did enter her body automatically. Could it be that my body can cultivate automatically? She remembered that when she cultivated her soul power, little spirit would absorb the surrounding soul power. Could it be that it was also absorbing? No matter what, it was good to have it. No matter how small a mosquito was, it was still meat. She looked at the soul power in the spiritual pool. It wasn't black like the ghost energy, but milky white. Moreover, it wasn't little. She should be about to reach the threshold of Underworld Fiend Master. Underworld Fiend Master, Underworld Spirit Master, Underworld Royal Master, Underworld King, Underworld Venerable, and Underworld Emperor were the cultivation levels here. There weren't as many cultivation levels in the human world, but the gap between each level was bigger, and it was more difficult to advance. Morongshi had been stuck at the early stage of Underworld Fiend Master, so there was no difference. She released her mental strength, and could feel the situation around her again. Although the range was far from what it was before, it felt good to be able to control her power again. Gongzi, young master, my miss is really cultivating. She ordered that no one is to disturb her and no one is to go in. Please spare us servants. Ting Shui was so scared that she was about to cry when she saw the unreasonable Gongzi Yuan, who insisted on entering the courtyard. Nonsense. She obviously can't cultivate. You just don't want me to go in. Gongzi Yuan shouted. I came with this excuse last time, and this time it's still the same excuse. Can't you change it? We really don't have it. Gongzi, young master, please don't make things difficult for us. Ting Shan stopped Gongzi Yuan. If young master really wants to go in, you have to step over us. Feeling the situation outside, she retracted her soul power, got off the bed, opened the door and walked out. Ting Shan, Ting Shui, you can leave. She ordered the two maids. Ting Shan and Ting Shui were relieved when they heard her order, and moved to the sides. Gongzi Yuan walked over and looked at Sima Yue. I didn't see your ghost aura increase. It seems that these maids are deliberately finding excuses to not let me see you. I say, Gongzi Yuan, we don't seem to be familiar with each other? You know that I'm not Morongshi, so why do you keep coming here? Sima Yue asked. Gongzi Yuan's handsome face turned red. How could he tell her that although he was heartbroken for the dead Morongshi, he wanted to see her more? The feeling of seeing her and seeing Morongshi was completely different. Could it be that the slap had hit his heart? Or was it that confident and unruly eyes that deeply attracted him? I just want to help you. You want to pretend to be Shi-er. Without my help, it's easy to be exposed. Gongzi Yuan seemed to have found a reason to convince himself and spoke with confidence. TSK. Sima Yue rolled her eyes at him. I've lost my memory. Anything can happen. I don't need you to cover for me. I have good intentions. Gongzi Yuan looked as if he had been wronged. Sima Yue couldn't stand it and waved her hand impatiently. Okay, stop being like that. Tell me, why did you come to find me today? The youth exchange will start in a few days. Chapter 1754. In 1 second she remembered, Love Divided by You? Read book web no pop-up window free to read. Actually it's nothing. I just want to ask you if you want to go to Atavistic Orchid Mountain with us. Gongzi Yuan scratched the back of his head. I heard that it's very lively there recently. Atavistic Orchid Mountain? It's the mountain outside the city. You were brought back from there. Gongzi Yuan said. How about it? Do you want to go? Who's going with me? It's those people from before. Gongzi Yuan realized that she didn't know. Anyway, they're similar to me. Their status isn't low. There will be people around to protect them. When are you going? Tomorrow. The youth exchange is in a few days. Aren't you going to participate? At that time, there was no atavistic orchid mountain. Gongzi Yuan said, if you can come back, then come back to participate. If not, then forget it. Sima Yue didn't immediately answer, but turned to look at Ting Shan and asked, has he always been like this? Ting Shan was startled and then replied, yes. At the same time, she said in her heart, Miss, you used to be like this. Sima Yue nodded and asked, I used to follow him out to fool around? Yes. Ting Shan was thinking, what the hell is fooling around? No, we're all ghosts. Since that's the case, then I agree. Come to the house tomorrow and find me. Sima Yue said to Gongzi Yuan. I'll go and talk to Dad. Gongzi Yuan looked at her back as she left, and his mouth twitched. Why did he feel that she was looking at a child who hadn't grown up? I'll pick you up tomorrow morning. He shouted at her back. Got it. Sima Yue waved her hand, but she didn't even turn her head back. Seeing this, a certain someone was extremely disappointed and walked away dejectedly. When Morong Hui heard that she was going to atavistic Orchid Mountain with Gongzi Yuan, he frowned slightly and said, why do you want to go to atavistic Orchid Mountain? I want to see the place where I came from, Sima Yue said. And I can't hide at home all the time, so those people won't have a chance to make a move. Isn't it the youth exchange? Aren't you busy at the youth exchange? If those people took action, would you have the energy to track them down? Sima Yue said, maybe they didn't expect me to go to atavistic Orchid Mountain again, so they won't do anything to me. I'll just tag along to have some fun. Alright, since you want to go, then go. Take this. If anything happens, crush it and I'll go save you immediately. Morong Hui took out a black stone. Sima Yue couldn't recognize it yet, so he just gave it to her. Oh right, I heard that you've been cultivating recently? Yes. How's the effect? If you have any questions, you can come to me. A-class equals, __CF email _ref equals /CDNCGI/L/ email protection. Datic female equals 75A8FA35 Bec 0. Email protected. Sima Yue was stunned for a moment before she nodded. Okay. It was the dream of many people to be able to get his guidance. Although she didn't need it, he was willing to say so, which was also his kind intention. Gongzi Yuan will come to pick me up tomorrow. I'll go with him directly when the time comes. If there's nothing else, I'll go back first. All right, I'll send someone to follow you. Thank you, Dad. She turned and left, just in time to meet the housekeeper coming in. The housekeeper respectfully saluted her. Sima Yue nodded to him, then looked around at the guards outside and walked away. The housekeeper knew that she was a fake, but he could still be so polite. Was there someone else's informant in the yard? Would those people know that she went to atavistic Orchid Mountain? Anyway, Morong Hui wouldn't let her have an accident now. These security measures would definitely be in place. If it didn't work, she still had me air. After going back, she cultivated for a night. This time, she cultivated her soul power. She felt that she would be able to enter the threshold of Underworld Fiend Master after a while. Early the next morning, Gongzi Yuan ran to find her. Seeing that she hadn't eaten breakfast yet, he gave her 2 buns, took her hand and ran. Why are you in such a hurry? Running halfway, Sima Yue pulled back her hand, rubbed her wrist and glared at him. Those guys have advanced the departure time, and are now waiting at the city gate. If they leave, we have to go by ourselves. Gongzi Yuan said. Go by yourself, it's not like you can't find the way. Sima Yue said. Are you hiding something from me? In fact, I'm not hiding it from you. It's just that I have an appointment with Chao Chingan to compete. If we separate, I won't know his results. Gongzi Yuan said. At that time he will definitely laugh at me for running away. That kid has a foul mouth. He can talk for a long time about one thing. I'm annoyed by him, so I have to find you to hide. Sima Yue gave him a look of admiration and said, let's go. Woof woof woof. Little Black chased from behind. Sima Yue quickly hugged it, and didn't let it rush over to bite Gongzi Yuan. Woof woof woof. Little Black barked at Gongzi Yuan. It was very unhappy that he took Yue away while it was eating. Be good he didn't hurt me. Sima Yue stroked its head and said to Gongzi Yuan, don't pull me and run like this in the future. My little black's intelligence isn't that good. It can't differentiate good from bad. It'll be troublesome if it hurts you. Gongzi Yuan wanted to say, how can it hurt me? But seeing Sima Yue's serious expression, he could only nod his head. Sima Yue put Little Black down and patted its head, saying, become bigger. Little Black shook its body and became the size of a tiger. Sima Yue jumped and sat on it, then said to Gongzi Yuan, let's go. Gongzi Yuan saw her walking forward, and reached out to cover his eyes. He didn't dare to imagine how those guys would react when they saw her contract beast. He suddenly felt that it was good to bring her into the mountain. At least he didn't have to lose face. Sure enough, those guys at the city gate were stunned when they saw Sima Yue sitting on an underworld dog. Then they all laughed. Gongzi Yuan, you said you were going to bring someone. Are you bringing this trash? Morongshi, when did you get such a beast to play with? Is it your contract beast? If you call me trash again, be careful that Uncle Hui gets angry and throws all of you out of the city. Gongzi Yuan threatened. How is that possible? Morongshi, we agreed at that time that the matters between us juniors will not involve the family. You won't go back on your words and complain, right? Sima Yue looked at them, holding her chin with one hand and said, since I said I won't tell the elders, then I won't tell anyone. When did I break my words? That's true. But, are you going to sit on this to go to Atavistic Orchid Mountain? Sima Yue patted Little Black's head. Why not? My Little Black is very powerful. Chapter 1755. In 1 second she remembered, Love Divided by You? Read, book web quick update, no pop-up window, free to read. Sima Yue looked at these people. There were more than 10 of them, all dressed like rich young masters. But they didn't bring any guards, not even servants. Although 2 of them spoke contemptuously, they were generally okay, and didn't discriminate against her. Gongzi Yuan, are you going to bring her? Chao Chengan, a little fatty, asked Gongzi Yuan. Yes. Gongzi Yuan nodded. What about our competition? Of course, we'll follow the original plan. Gongzi Yuan said without thinking. You're bringing her along? Chao Chengan looked at Gongzi Yuan in surprise. I know you have a good relationship, but this is a competition. Don't find excuses when you lose. TSK, we don't know who will win. Gongzi Yuan said unconvinced. Don't deny it when you lose. You're bragging. Can you win with that trash? You'll know when the time comes. Gongzi Yuan snorted. Even if he brought Sima Yue, it would be a piece of cake to win. Mu Kaiyan, the young master of the Mu family, came over and patted Gongzi Yuan's shoulder. I can't figure it out. Gongzi Yuan, you're a genius of the Gongzi family. Why do you like to hang out with the trash of the city lord's mansion? I'm happy. Why do you care? Gongzi Yuan slapped his hand away and strode forward. What's wrong with this guy? Mu Kaiyan pointed at Gongzi Yuan in surprise. He didn't have such a big reaction when I said it before. Why is he angry at me this time? Didn't you notice that Yuan looks at differently now? Xiao family's Miss Xiao Ruabai pouted with a teasing look in her eyes. You mean? Mu Kaiyan and Chao Chengan widened their eyes. How is it possible? Haven't they always been like this? Why does that guy suddenly like that trash? This is incredible. Didn't you notice that she is different from before? Xiao Ruabai asked. It seems different. Mu Kaiyan touched his chin. Is it because of amnesia? Amnesia will change people's temperament. Chao Chengan didn't believe it. Do you think you will? Me? Even if I lose my memory, I won't be able to change my personality. Mu Kaiyan snorted. But she's different now. Although it's still the same trash face, it gives people a different feeling. Xiao Ruabai said doubtfully. Could it be that her amnesia has changed a lot? We'll see. We'll spend a lot of time together in the future anyway. I think that a dog can't change her nature. Her nature is still the same. Chao Chengan said. Chao, do you know that nothing good comes out of a dog's mouth? Sima Yue asked without turning her head. Why didn't I know about it? Chao Chengan did not expect Sima Yue to hear their conversation, so he replied subconsciously. Then he reacted and shouted, "Are you calling me a dog?" "Is there?" Sima Yue turned around. It's not a good habit to speak ill of others behind their backs. What do you mean behind your back? We said it openly, Chao Chengan retorted. They used to say the same thing, but because Morongxi didn't have spiritual power, she couldn't hear it. He didn't expect her to hear it now. Could it be that amnesia makes people's hearing better? Sima Yue patted Xiao He and motioned him to stop. Then she turned to look at him and said, "Are you so sure that Gongzi Yuan can't win against you with me?" "Of course. I'm waiting for him to admit defeat and call me big brother." "What if he wins? Then he will be the big brother." "Then you should be prepared to be the little brother." Sima Yue laughed. "You will be convinced of your loss. TSK, now is not the time to talk big. When you reach Atavistic Orchid Mountain, you will know how much of an advantage you have in this competition," Chao Chengan said with a smile. "Really? Then let's wait and see." Sima Yue was very confident. She was so confident that people would have a whole new level of respect for her. But what she did next almost made everyone fall to the ground. "Gongzi Yuan, what is the content of your competition?" She didn't know the content of the competition at all. She dared to boast without knowing anything. This was exactly the same as before. Now they believed that she was still her. Even if she lost her memory, her temperament had not changed at all. Gongzi Yuan was also speechless. She was really the same as Shir. But why did he think that Shir was joking before, but what she said in front of him was true? "Shir, you don't have to worry about the competition. Just follow me when the time comes. I will protect you," he said. "I brought you out, and I will naturally send you back safely." "Speaking of this, Morongxi, what happened to you last time? How did you get chased down the cliff?" Xiao Ruobai asked. "How would I know? My father said that there are always some blind people who envy and hate our family. They can't beat my father, so they have to find me. It's a pity that I don't remember what happened before. Otherwise, maybe I can remember some clues and find out who did it," Sima Yue said in distress. "This amnesia is really annoying. Don't worry about this. Uncle Jian is so powerful. He will definitely find out who did it to you," Xiao Ruobai said. "Well, I think so too. Who is my father? Who can be better than him?" Sima Yue said with a smile. "One day, my father will find out those people and avenge me." Gongzi Yuan's mouth twitched. Didn't this girl say that she had never been in contact with Shi? Why did she speak in such a similar tone? Sima Yue saw his speechless look and smiled at him. Wasn't it just imitating Morongxi's speech? She had never seen Morongxi, but there were so many people in the City Lord mansion. And Ting Shan and Ting Shui were there. How could she not know what she was like? "By the way, you said that Atavistic Orchid Mountain has been very lively recently. What is it? Is it related to your competition?" she asked. "You don't know? My father was frightened by what happened last time. He doesn't allow me to go out or inquire about what's going on outside, so I don't know anything." Sima Yue shrugged. "You can actually stay at home." Everyone looked at her in surprise. "Don't be surprised. Tell me what's going on," Sima Yue urged. "In fact, it's nothing. It's just that the underworld beasts in Atavistic Orchid Mountain have been quite turbulent recently, so there is news that a treasure has been born." Many forces got the news and rushed over. Mukayan said, "A treasure has been born? Why didn't my father respond? Is your news fake?" Sima Yue tilted her head and frowned. "Is your news reliable?" Chapter 1756. In 1 second, she remembered, Love Divided by You? Read book web quick update. No pop-up window, free to read. We don't know if it's reliable or not, but a lot of people have come. You haven't been out recently, so you don't know that a lot of people have come to the city recently. Mukayan said, "They are all here for that treasure. I still think it's not reliable. The people in our city didn't respond. But why are the people in the distant places so active?" Sima Yue clapped her hands. But since we are all here, let's go and find out. Murongshi, even if you have lost your memory, you are still so bold. Aren't you afraid of something happening again? Chao Chengan teased. Afraid of what? I'm afraid that I'm not my father's daughter. Sima Yue patted Xiao He, and everyone continued to move forward. Those who looked down on Sima Yue saw that Gongzi Yuan, Chao Chengan, Mu Kaiyan, and Xiao Ruobai had a good attitude towards Sima Yue, so they didn't dare to say anything. In their eyes, Sima Yue only had the city lord as her father, but she was still a waste in essence. But the other 4 people were different. They were the young masters and young ladies of the strongest families. And they were also the geniuses of their families. This kind of person was the most admirable. If they ridiculed Sima Yue and caused their disgust, it would not be worth it. After all, they were all followers of several people, and they still had to rely on them. The group walked for a day before arriving at atavistic Orchid Mountain. Because the mountain was dangerous, everyone found an open place to camp soon after entering the mountain. Sima Yue was prepared with these things. Seeing her skillfully take out the tent and set it up, the others looked like they had seen a ghost. Or when did you learn to set up a tent? Didn't your guards do it before? Xiao Ruobai's tent was next to her. Before her own tent was set up, she saw that Sima Yue had already set it up. I haven't eaten pork, but I haven't seen a pig run. Seeing them do it so many times, I learned it myself. Sima Yue clapped her hands, opened the tent, got in, and began to decorate the inside. After a while, Gongzi Yuan and the other 3 ran into her tent. They were speechless when they saw the luxurious decorations inside. I say, Murongshi, we are camping here. Why did you bring so many treasures? Don't you find it hard to clean up? Chao Chengan sighed. I'm not here to suffer. Of course, I have to make myself comfortable. Sima Yue said, but she was speechless in her heart. Because these were the habits of Morong, when she went out in the past, Morong Hui had people send them over. Since she wanted to pretend to be Morong she naturally had to pay attention to these things. Who knew if there was anyone here who had harmed her last time? You and Ruobai are both young misses. Why is her tent so fresh and elegant while yours looks so worldly? Mu Kaiyan also sighed. It's my pleasure. Why do you care? All right, I'm going to sleep now. Hurry up and leave. Sima Yue chased everyone out. Gongzi Yuan saw her impatient look and reminded her. We didn't bring any guards with us, so don't go out at night. Be careful of nether beasts. I know. Go out, go out. Sima Yue pushed him out, and then closed the curtain. Who? She let out a long breath, then lay down on the big bed and whispered. I don't know how long I will have to use this identity. Alas, it's better to seize the time to cultivate and become an underworld fiend master as soon as possible, so that little spirit can get better. The revolution has not succeeded yet. Comrades still need to work hard. She got up from the bed and began to cultivate until the next morning when Gongzi Yuan called her to go out. Shir, why do I feel that your aura seems to be stronger than yesterday? Gongzi Yuan looked at her suspiciously. Is it? You haven't woken up yet. Sima Yue finished and went to pack up her things. She put the things she put out yesterday into the space ring. She found that the soul power in atavistic Orchid Mountain was particularly abundant. Last night was her first time cultivating soul power, so the effect was remarkable. She felt that she had touched the barrier of Underworld Fiend Master. As long as she cultivated for a while, she could successfully advance. The closer she went to atavistic Orchid Mountain, the more she found that it was a good place to cultivate. The soul power was too rich. She remembered that the ancestor used his last strength to send her to the ghost realm. Did the ancestor deliberately choose this place? Shir, what are you thinking about? Gongzi Yuan waved his hand in front of her. Sima Yue came back to her senses, looked at him and asked, What? We have to go. Gongzi Yuan said aggrievedly. After this guy came to the mountain, she was in a trance all day and did not care about him at all. Where are we going? She asked. Did you listen to what we said just now? Chao Chengan said. There are 2 roads here. We will each take one. After dark, we will meet at the foot of the mountain. Whoever has more things in their hands will win. This is your competition? Sima Yue asked. This is the first day. There are still a few days left. It's too unskilled to compete in this. She thought these little guys would do something. Don't look down on this. If one of us can get the rumored treasure, he will win. Chao Chengan snorted. In other words, no matter what, whoever gets the treasure will win. Sima Yue asked. That's right. What if there is no treasure? Then naturally, whoever has the highest value will win. Sima Yue nodded and said to Gongzi Yuan, let's go. Only she and Gongzi Yuan moved. The other 10 people did not move. Only the two of us? She asked. Yes, they don't believe that I will win. Gongzi Yuan said. However, I don't need their help. Is it because of me? Sima Yue immediately guessed. No, it's just that those people are their followers. My group of followers did not come. Gongzi Yuan laughed and did not care at all. Don't worry, we won't lose. Sima Yue patted Gongzi Yuan's shoulder and said affirmatively. Yes. Gongzi Yuan smiled even more brightly, not because he felt that he could really win, but because of what she said, and that we. Chao Chengan, since you have so many people here, I will go with them. Xiao Ruabai greeted them and caught up with Sima Yue and Gongzi Yuan saying, do you mind if I go with you? Ruabai, you want to go with us? Gongzi Yuan looked at Xiao Ruabai with some surprise. Among so many people, his relationship with Xiao Ruabai was very ordinary. He did not expect that she would choose to help him at this time. I just don't like to be with a lot of flatterers. Xiao Ruabai shrugged as if it was really because of this. Okay, let's go. Gongzi Yuan agreed. Sima Yue naturally had no objection. Looking at Xiao Ruabai, she felt like she was looking at Bei Gongtang, but when she met Bei Gongtang, she was colder. She did not know how her little friends were doing now. Chapter 1757. 1 Second to Remember. Love Divided by You? Reads BookWeb. Update fast, no pop-up window, free to read. She felt that the people and things in the human realm were far away from her. She missed them, but she couldn't see them. When she had the strength to save her mother, she could go back. In the distance, Gongzi Yuan was removing his sword from the underworld beast, and then putting the underworld beast into the space ring. Oh, your luck is really good. You hunted another underworld beast. Xiao Ruabai stood aside with her hands crossed in front of her chest. She didn't want to help. I think so too. This is only the periphery. It's really good luck to encounter so many underworld beasts. Gongzi Yuan captured several underworld beasts in a row, and was in a good mood. Although this is the periphery, there will be powerful underworld beasts. You still can't take it lightly. Xiao Ruabai said. I know. However, why do I feel that these spirit beasts took the initiative to come here to die? Gongzi Yuan said with some doubts. When you say that, it seems a bit like it. When these underworld beasts came over, their minds seemed to be a little unclear. Xiao Ruabai said. What did you do? Nothing. I was killing underworld beasts along the way. How could I have time to do anything? Gongzi Yuan said. I wanted to ask if you did something. It seems that it's not you. Could it be? The two turned their eyes to Sima Yue at the same time. Sima Yue felt their gazes, played with the flower in her hand, and said, Earth Fiend flower will attract low-level underworld beasts, but it has no effect on high-level underworld beasts. You used this to attract the underworld beasts? Gongzi Yuan asked in surprise. When did you do it? Xiao Ruabai was also surprised. They didn't notice that she did it without anyone noticing. Before, I saw some on the side of the road. I thought they looked good, so I picked a few. Sima Yue said, We're not breaking the rules, so it's nothing, right? It's nothing. I just didn't expect you to recognize medicinal herbs. Xiao Ruabai said. The last time I was injured, my father didn't allow me to go out. I had nothing to do, so I flipped through a few books. Sima Yue made up a story. In fact, she did read some books that introduced medicinal herbs, but they were not in the city lord's mansion. They were from Deja. At that time, he thought that he might come to the world of spirits and souls in the future, so he wanted to understand some things here first. After that, He took some time to read through it a few times and memorized the medicinal herbs inside. He didn't expect that it would come in handy so soon. I didn't expect you to have such talent. If you were willing to spend some time on this before, you wouldn't have been looked down upon for so many years, Xiao Ruobai said. Sima Yu shrugged noncommittally. Anyway, this had nothing to do with her. Or did you already think of this method? That's why you're so sure that we'll win? Gongzi Yuan said happily. No. I didn't know there was an earth fiend flower here. Sima Yue said. Then why are you so sure? Did I? Sima Yue stared at them blankly. What did she do? Yes. Xiao Ruobai and Gongzi Yuan both nodded affirmatively. Okay. I just think that since there aren't many people, it's useful if it's useful. We have fewer people, so we'll still win, Sima Yue said. She didn't know that her confidence would always infect the people around her and make them confident, even if she had only revealed it unconsciously. Well, I knew it. You would definitely help, Gongzi Yuan said happily. Xiao Ruobai looked at him smirking and despised him in her heart. He was really useless. Then let's continue, Sima Yue said. I think your harvest today shouldn't be less than theirs. Just get a little more. Yuan, are we going to grab that treasure? Xiao Ruobai asked. Grab that treasure? Gongzi Yuan thought for a moment. If there's a chance, we can try. Do you really think there is? Sima Yue asked. Do you think there isn't? Xiao Ruobai asked. I don't think there is. Otherwise, why would your family be indifferent? Sima Yue knew too well about those forces' pursuit of interests. If there really was a treasure, they would be so close to it. It was impossible for them not to participate. Then why do you think those people came? And we haven't met anyone until now, indicating that this happened in the central or inner regions. Ordinary things can't attract them, right? Xiao Ruobai didn't believe it. Maybe it's something else. If we encounter it, we'll naturally know, Sima Yue said. But I bet your family knows about it. Otherwise, they wouldn't participate. If you're really curious, you can go back and ask them. Then forget it. If we go out now, it's tantamount to giving up. This is related to my and Chao Chang'an's status. Gongzi Yuan refused without thinking. Let him call that kid big brother. Beat him to death. Then let's continue, Sima Yue said. I have a hunch that we may really encounter something. Danger? Don't you have someone secretly protecting you? Don't be afraid of danger. After all, those people are not ordinary people. How do you know? Xiao Ruobai stared at her, trying to see through her. But the more she looked, the more she felt that she couldn't understand her. Would a person's amnesia really change so much? She was right. For people like them, even if they didn't have guards, there would be someone secretly protecting them. You forgot me too. Sima Yue raised her eyebrows, climbed onto Xiao Hei's back, and left first. Xiao Ruobai. She thought Sima Yue guessed another layer, but it seemed that she thought too much. By the way, why did you young ladies and young masters come to live in a small place like Eternal Brilliance City? Sima Yue's voice floated from the front. Gongzi Yuan and Xiao Ruobai paused and looked at each other. She really guessed it? What did you say? Although I lost my memory, it didn't mean that my IQ has dropped, Sima Yue said. At first glance, the temperament of the two of you is different from that of Chao Chang'an and the others. You don't seem to come from a small place. Plus, when I said it just now, Ruobai, you looked vigilant. I know that I guessed it right. Xiao Ruobai was startled. Her reaction just now was a bit too much. Why did you come here? Sima Yue asked casually. If you don't think it's easy to answer, you don't have to. Both Gongzi Yuan and Xiao Ruobai were silent for a while, and Xiao Ruobai spoke first. You're right, we didn't grow up here. Then why did you come to Eternal Brilliance City? And for so many years? Sima Yue asked curiously. Although Eternal Brilliance City is small, its status is not low. Do you know who your father is? Sima Yue was surprised. Could it be that Murong Hui was guarding here for some other purpose? You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.